not bad.
And we're live. Yes, we're live.
Hello, everyone out there. Can you hear us in the audience? Please let me know if the audio is working. We always have to ask that because we're never sure if Job has got it right or not. So please confirm if you are hearing this, if you're hearing my voice. Anyone out there? We can hear you. Okay, very good. So this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss at Internet Shitlords. And today I am here as usual with Venger and Florida Man RPG, aka Job. And we are accompanied today by a special guest star, James from NECKBEARDIA Reborn.
Oh yeah, good, huh? Yeah, no, pretty good. Been looking forward to this for a while now, to be honest with you. No, it's nice to be here finally. You know what I mean?
It took you long enough, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, me had that. It was his second MMA fight, and he won that, but that was really nice. But the first time he had one was back in like 2019. So I felt really bad because I missed it, but he won this fight as well, so we did. So that was pretty nice. And then Stag Day and all this other shit, you know what I mean? So look, here eventually, you know what I mean? Well, that's what matters, isn't it?
We got you here eventually, and that's what's important. Now, I'm going to have to admit, we got a new subscriber. Do you know who that is, Job? Luke Douglas? Anyone know? Anyways, welcome aboard, Luke.
Welcome, Luke.
I have to admit, I was not very familiar with NECKBEARDIA. I was not a viewer of that channel, and I have only recently started to see some of it when it was possible. When it was a possibility that we might have James here. I was not tremendously impressed by what I saw, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad. It's not bad. It's not politically bad, or it's not, but it's just not really my thing. So it seems like a lot of it is like kind of like actual play stuff and stories about bad gamers and things like that. And, that's very different. I don't know if the people of NECKBEARDIA have seen my channel. Well, mine is very different. Mine is like a Jordan B. Peterson lecture about RPGs every week, right?
Yeah, like a cut rate Jordan Peterson now. But yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I could see that. Your stuff, I quite enjoy it though. Like, I would say your stuff is more in the nitty gritty. Would that be fair to say? You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I'll say that. That would be
cat fight.
But I would like to know more about you. Luckily, we have Job here, who is more familiar and therefore more qualified to ask questions. So I'm going to hand it over to Job to do the interview part of tonight's episode.
You guys just jump in whenever.
I'm sure Venger now have some questions.
Have a full neck beard.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are shocked about that.
That's deceptive, man. It's like
advertising.
Look, being a neckbeard it doesn't mean wearing a fedora and having a neckbeard. It's a personality type. Yeah, you wear you may not show it.
Wait. Are you saying you identify as a neckbeard even though you aren't?
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say, the problem is all my IRL friends cannot give a fuck about role-playing games or 40k or anything, so they all call me a bit of a neckbeard. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones. Like, that's the problem I've got. Like, so I can't play role-playing games like IRL for the most part because everyone I play with is online, and all my actual mates are like, mate, that's gay as fuck. What are you doing? You know what I mean? So sad, but it's the way it is,
So it's basically you owning the term is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that to a certain extent. That, and also is because I didn't really. Okay, well, that's leading to another one. It was because whenever so what happened was, right, me and Megan got the house together, right, and I was working.
Who's Megan? But you gotta pretend like nobody knows who the hell you are.
What?
Who's Megan?
Megan's my wife. She's on me and her do videos together. Anyway, so me and her we get the house both on like pretty much fucking minimum wage, and I'm really big in 40k at the time. I'm like, hey, what the fuck's this? I'm not gonna have any money for models or fuck all, you know what I mean? So I thought, like, I need to spend. So we got one day dedicated where we go off and do something together, and then one day I normally do something by myself. You know what I mean? and I had nothing to do because I couldn't afford any models. I couldn't do anything like that. So I thought, you know what? Why not have a go at making like some YouTube videos or something like that? You know, like even just talking about like 40K conversions, showing off some of the stuff that I've done and all that. And I did a couple of videos like that, and people turned around and said, James, you're a fucking spastic, mate. Get off the internet. My audio was horrible. My video was even worse. It was this was in 2017 as well. Like, you know, but it looked like a 2009 video. I was like, you guys are right. You guys are actually right. So I started doing like completely edited videos, and like either way, that's for later on. What was the original question? Sorry, I've got a good few things in me, if I'll be honest with you.
I didn't even hear the question. Did you ask a question, Pundit?
Well, sorry, my accent's thick as fuck. What was the question originally? Sorry, I'm steaming, if I'll be honest with you already.
That was my first question. Do you have a speech impediment, or is that an accent?
Yeah.
Like what the hell? I can't understand you.
It's a mixture of both, I would say.
Oh, it
Or
is.
you do Irish.
It's kind of funny. I have a channel about talking. I can't talk. quite ironic, you know.
No, I think it's awesome, but
But do other Scots understand you?
Well, I can understand the Scottish and I can understand Irish, but I live in Northern Ireland, you see, so you know it's one of those ones. It's a strange. It's like a hybrid dialect almost. You know what I mean? It's I don't think, you know what I mean. It's one of those ones. A lot
it's
of people
not
just
Irish.
forget it.
What is it?
I would say what I speak is Ulster Scots. So technically, people have got this weird idea where they say that Ulster Scots is a different language altogether, but like, you know, people that speak it can still. It's pretty much spastic English, to put it nicely. Would that be a good way to put it?
Yes.
You know, like that's essentially what it is. It's spastic English. You know what I mean? Because like you can understand within reason. You know what I mean? I would say there's a lot of slang. Would that be fair to say?
I don't know. I don't speak Ulster Scottish, but
it's not far off.
and I can barely understand it, but I like listening to you, so that's fine.
Thanks.
So that's how you got into YouTubing, right? Now, what?
Yeah.
What's the whole story behind NECKBEARDIA Reborn? Because you have this channel. Wasn't there a previous one called NECKBEARDIA or something? What the hell happened?
Yeah. So my first channel. So what happened was I was doing text speech videos. It got demonetized because YouTube didn't want text speech anymore. So me and Megan started doing voiceovers together, and I actually much prefer it. But then, you know, I've got a lot of detractors. Would that be a nice way to put it? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people have issues, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's only a matter of time, and I've been demonetized, I don't know how many times, but like, you know, you just reapply and you get it back. But anyway, what happened with the channel was, it's kind of funny actually. So this was years ago. I posted a 9/11 meme video, and I got a warning or like a proper strike on the channel saying that I was glorifying terrorism. And you know, they said I was talking to some boy at the back end of YouTube, and they said, no, this is very serious. We never reinstate channels that have this type of strike. I was like, well, can I just make a new channel? And they're like, yeah, sure, work away. So that's what I did. I just made a new channel. And then 2 weeks after I did that, the old channel got monetized again. So what do? You know, right?
Stay with the good one, the new one.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, I would just keep with the new one. To be honest with you, it's like YouTube's really messy, and like see messing with like metadata and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of really fucking autistic shit you need to be looking at. You know what I mean? When it comes to like growing, and it worked out just better. Like, you know, just stay with the new channel. I prefer it honestly, and because it means I can like dedicate 2 different places to 2 different things. Would that be fair to say? I don't know.
Okay, so just briefly, I guess, just why don't you just like not all our viewers will be familiar with your show, with your channel. So I don't know. I just put up like a link to the show and a thumbnail from your channel.
Yeah. So
just explain what it is, like.
Yeah, tell us what it's about. Yeah.
So,
like
someone doesn't know anything about your show.
Fuck, this is hard. So essentially, what I would do is I would say we're a weird mix between like a React channel and like D&D psychology. What is it that makes someone a fucking spastic? You know what I mean? What is it that makes like horror stories? Why is it like, and why is it specifically role-playing games attract some of the worst human beings you'll ever meet in your life? You know, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you know, you've come across absolutely fucking mentals, you know, and I think it's to do with, like, you know, for me personally, I think it's role-playing games. Role-playing games is it's a hyper social activity. Would that be fair to say? It's very,
Correct.
very social. And the people that it attracts are not very social or don't know how to interact very well with other human beings a lot of the time. And of course that comes, you know, like I've already proven to you guys, I can see the awkwardness with you already, you know what I mean? This is what I do. I make people uncomfortable to a certain extent. But you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it was a hyper social activity. And
yeah, it's
a
bit like,
it's hard to pull off, you know?
It's a bit like how they say that soccer is a game of gentlemen played by hooligans, right? And in RPGs, ironically, you're right. It requires enormous social skills, and the people who play it, at least since the early 80s until very, very recently, tended to be people with terrible social skills. I always tell people, you know, that when I first started playing D&D, when I was like around 11, 12 years old, and this was in the 1980s, you know, when it was still booming, when D&D was still popular, I was very easily always the nerdiest kid in that table. And like 3 years later, by the time I was in high school, I was always the least nerdy kid at the table, because something shifted there where all the normies stopped playing, and what you were left with, for the most part, were the nerds, right? And I'd gone from being by far the nerdiest kid at the table to by far the least nerdy one, and the one that was most capable of having a normal conversation. So yeah, that's how you get the RPG horror stories, is because so many gamers tend to have certain issues. Now I think that might have changed a bit more recently, right? Like with 5th edition, you've had such a boom of like normal kids playing D&D too, you know?
I don't know, like, you know, where I am, you see, the thing is, like 40K, it's an English thing. I live in Northern Ireland. 40K is way more popular. War games are where it's all at here. Like, you know, everyone, you can meet anyone in the street and ask them what's 40K, and they'll be able to tell you. If they ask them about D&D, they'll be like, what? You know what I mean? No,
yeah,
like, you know,
and 40K, 40K is a hobby for people who are too antisocial for D&D, right?
Well, yeah, I would say so. Like, I don't know. For me, like, you know, I've always been into 40K. Like, I've been into 40K for most of my life, and role-playing games is a very, I would say, new, relatively speaking. Like, you know, I would say in the past 7 years, maybe. So for me, I would say I'm new to it. You know what I mean? But again, that's just because, like, you know, it's not popular here. You know what I mean? If you don't have other people to play with, you know what I mean? Up until recently, it's kind of hard to actually be able to give it a go. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
How long have you been into role-playing games?
Role-playing games about, as I say, about 6-7 years. I'd say, well, about maybe 2014, 15, maybe. I would say around about sometime about then. I couldn't tell you exactly when, but
so like
40K.
when 5th edition came out, or?
Yeah, it would have been around about that time. I don't know. 5th edition just was there, and I didn't like look into it too much. But the 5th edition already existed whenever I started getting into it. So you know what I mean. I would say definitely I would be new to it all.
Right,
I've got a question here.
Oh, okay,
just one second. I got a question here from the live chat from George Whittlesbach, Lorraine McLarian Hoopy. He says, James, how do you feel when people on TG, right, on traditional games and 4chan, call you out for screen capping green texts?
I don't know. I think it's funny. The thing is, right, 4chan's got a very contrarian culture. You know what I mean? And I would that be fair to say it's very contrarian? And,
very much so, yeah.
I would say definitely. I would say more people enjoy us than hate us. You know what I mean? But even then, like, you know, see if you're doing anything online, you got to be up for being called a faggot from time to time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, see if you're doing anything online and you expect people to be nice to you, fucking wise up. You know what I mean? Like, actually catch yourself. Like, you know, you just need to You know what I mean? You really need to reevaluate if you can't handle. Like, this is the problem I've got. Normies on the internet, they just can't handle being called a spastic from time to time. And like, you know, especially if you're doing anything, and again, all the stuff that I'm interested in, I would say would be relatively contrarian for where I live. You know what I mean? You just kind of got to get used to that. You know what I mean, and get over yourself, like, you know. But I don't mind it. The only thing would be, I would say, Garblu, he's lethal for getting into arguments online. And I feel like, especially arguing with people online, you're never going to be able to change hearts and minds. You're never going to be able to change someone's opinion by shouting.
No, you can never change the opinion of the guy you're arguing with, but that shouldn't be the goal. The goal is to change the perspective of the people listening to you arguing with the other guy, right?
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very jaded when it comes to, like, you know, I don't know. I just feel jaded by the current landscape of the day. I don't really get into politics, so I try to avoid it for the most part, just because I feel like it's almost a pointless endeavor. You know, that, and also I don't feel like I could articulate them as well as other people, so it wouldn't be something that I would be able to achieve. Would that be fair to say? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's green text?
Green text would be, it's a
boomer question.
It's a like style format. It would be I think like writing a story but in bullet point format. That would be essentially it, you know.
Okay.
So speaking of being name called, George Riddlesbach, Lorraine McLaren Hoopy also says about me, the Thelemite Freemason calls other people nerdy. Well, I didn't say I wasn't a nerd, right? I said I was the least nerdy guy left at the table, right? And the difference is that I have a certain level of social skills that a lot of the typical gamers from the 1990s until at least 2014 didn't have. And the fact that I am a Freemason is, I think, thanks to those social skills. So yeah. You don't get to be a high-ranking Freemason if you don't have good social skills.
Yeah, that would be fair to say. Yeah, I could agree with that.
Shadzar says, Pundit, you forgot D&D began as a war game, relearn your roots. No, I didn't forget that. It's just that by the time I started playing in the mid 80s, it wasn't played by wargamer nerds mostly. It was played by everybody. Like, there's a little while there from like 79 to maybe 86, 87 at most, where there were a ton of like normal people that played D&D, right? Like not just the geeky kids at school, right? Yeah, I mean, D&D was, you could buy it at Sears, right? You could buy the box set at Sears, you know, so that you didn't have to go to a weirdo comic store. Anyway, continue on, Job, with the interview. Thank you.
So how do you meet the co-hosts that are on your show now?
We went to school together. It was one of those ones. Went to school together, and I left in 5th year. I don't know what it is for Americans, you know what I mean? I left and went to community college, and she stayed on for upper 6th. And I don't know, I just got talking to her over Facebook, you know what I mean? One of them ones, and kind of just worked out quite nicely, you know what I mean? Been together 9 years. Yeah, 9 years last week, actually, come to think of it. Got engaged 3 years ago, got married the year after that, and then Ozzy was born back in, I should know this. The child was born back in the summer, so he was. So, you know, not bad going.
All right, so you got, who's on your show? You got Megan, Megan. You got
Megan. Garblu helps out from time to time. Garblu does his own thing though. You know what I mean? He's writing his own. Well, it's fucking written. He's written 2 books, and he's
in the chat.
He's made a tabletop game, so he has 4 that for within his universe, if that would be fair to say, you know.
And who's Teal?
Oh, Teal. Oh, Teal's my DM. I just bully him to come on from time to time. No, he's only been on like 2 videos. So I would get him on the podcast because I would go to Megan. Like, for instance, see when your book came in, I went to Megan. It's like, we need to read this book. So I do, and she was like, I ain't doing any of that extra shit. You know what I mean? I show up and do recording, right? I ain't doing any of that. Fuck, you know what I mean? You just tell me what's up. I was like, all right, fine, fuck it, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, right, well, we could do with someone else. So I invited Teal on. He's He's a good fella. I enjoy him. Sort of, he's a funny guy, but he's not used to being in videos at all. He's very he's like, oh, well, what do I do? Well, you know what I mean? Very, I don't know.
Very shitty. I mean, what do you say?
No, he's not bad. No, I mean, he'll give me grief for this, for fuck's sake. No, I mean,
a lot of questions are trying to get you in trouble, so.
Right, okay, I'll tell you what happened, right? So we sat down, we recorded that review of your book, and Teal goes to me after. It's like, we really didn't like talk about the book at all. It was actually kind of like, he was really worried about, are you going to post that video, by the way? It's like, yeah, I'm going to post the video. It's like, but it was really bad, man. Please don't post that. Please don't do anything with it. And he was really worried about it. So he was like, hey, be fine, don't worry, I'll chop it up, edit it, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? It'll look nice when it's all done, And he was happy with it. He was actually very surprised. He's like, you know what, you actually did a good job. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought that episode was pretty funny, but what? Oh, I'm sorry, Venger. Before, I thought you looked like you wanted to say something, and I just talked over you like I normally do.
No, that was just a question about the green text.
Oh,
okay. All right.
He's still stuck on the green text.
Right. So as I say,
I don't know why. If it's a short story, I don't know why people just don't say short story.
They can be quite long.
Narrative means.
They can be long. I've done a couple of green texts that have been like in the 10-hour range. You know what I mean? Like recording wise, you know what I mean? So they can be very long. It's the way that they're formatted, essentially. It's when you're writing code and it's got like the brackets in them, you know what I mean? I don't know. How do you
screen capping it be bad?
What do you say?
Why would screen capping it be bad?
Oh, because it's someone else. It's what someone else has said. So what we're doing is like, it would be someone asks a question, we read out what other people have said, and then we talk about it amongst ourselves to say like, well, what do we really think about it? What's our take on that? I've actually got that quite a few times. I'm not even joking. It's kind of funny. See, whenever I get comments, it's like, can you guys just shut the fuck up and read the green text? You know what I mean? I've got that quite. It's like, okay, fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I want to inject a bit of fucking personality. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, it's kind of like I don't know, people criticizing Tim Pool for like reading news articles.
Yeah, it would be similar to that. Yeah, I would say not far off.
That was bullshit. Yeah. Okay. So I've talked to you a little bit on Twitter, DM. So it seems like you are kind of getting more and more interested in the OSR. So.
Oh yeah. I'm actually, it's because you sent us that book, and it's something that I've never looked into. The thing is, OSR, I feel like you need to have nostalgia for it. Would that be fair to say? But I've already told you guys I'm relatively new to all this, so I don't have any like emotional connection. Would that be fair to say?
Well, a large number of people who are into the OSR are people that were not around in the actual old school era. So in a way, it's like a pseudo nostalgia, right? It's the way like, people who weren't around in the 1960s but want to live like hippies or something like that. It's that sort of thing. It's a recreation of something, and that's why there's also some people that get these really weird ideas in the OSR of like, oh, this is the real way that people did it back then, and the people that were there back then, and I was back there. I was a kid, but I was there. Are like, no, that's not how it was at all, right? And so, like, there's been a lot of issues around that too.
That's Jeffro.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
The guy we had last time here.
Well, for me personally, when it comes to it, like, I was looking at Lamentations, and I was like, well, that looks pretty interesting. And then Joe recommended to me Dungeon Crawl Classic, and I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, right, okay. So I went about, and then there was one day I was on Kickstarter because I was looking at more models, and then I saw this pilot board, it was called, and I ended up clicking onto it, and I've been playing a Spelljammer game for the last like 2 years or so, and we've had major difficulty trying to get any form of good naval combat, and the Kickstarter came with naval combat rules, and I was like, I got to get this shit, you know what I mean? Because there's not many good naval combat rules, is there? Like, it's really hard to come by, I think, anyway, because I've searched, and I couldn't find anything. So I checked it out, and I didn't know what the fuck Morkborg even was, if I'll be honest with you. This was only like 3 months ago. And I go ahead and check it out. And I was like, you know what? Actually, this system actually sounds pretty cool. So the players just go for all the dice and whatnot. Okay, I can check this out. And so I decided to chance my arm, and I messaged the guy. It's like, yo, can you send me a review copy? And he was like, yeah, sure, no sweat. So I got my handsome review copy, and I really liked it. I actually did really enjoy it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I've actually got them here. So it's been 2 months, and I've picked up Wapa.
Yes.
Oh yeah, thingy. Yeah, I know. Well, okay, I'll give you my reasoning for it, right? So I know it's big SJWs that made it, right? But think of it like this: there's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of artists online, there's a lot of people that are very left leaning that make songs or music that I really enjoy, and I can divorce myself from their political ideology to the art that they create. Would that be fair to say? And that's why
I think that is fair to say.
Yeah.
What I'm surprised with is, like, did he not know who you were? Did you approach him under like an assumed name or something? Because I've got the impression now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got the impression that SJWs don't like you, right?
Depends. Well, yeah, I would say, the problem is because I call them fucking spastic cunts, if I be honest with you. Like, I was watching that one with Venger where he got in bother, that podcast with Venger getting in bother with them. And, I think the biggest problem that he had was you admitted any form of not defeat, but you admitted that, okay, maybe I took this too far. These people don't see that. Like, they've got no understanding. Like, they'll you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Like, they can't be reasoned with. They can't. Changing hearts and minds is fucking impossible online, and especially with these sort of people that you're dealing with, it's just impossible. So I don't even bother trying to get into it with them. You know what I mean? Would that be fair to say? That's why, like, again, you could argue I'm a bit of a fence sitter when it comes to it, and I feel like, sometimes I feel like, I really should say something, but I do, to me, role playing games is a hobby. And it's something that I'm really interested in, and I just don't want to deal with politics. You know what I mean? It's not something that. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy politics. I think it's really fascinating to talk about, and I talk about with a lot of my friends. But I don't want to talk about it online, and especially I don't want to talk about it with something that I actually really enjoy and I love doing. And you know what I mean? I just want to. Yeah, I just want to roll dice and have fun with me.
And I think,
you know what I mean?
I think you can make a distinction too between like products, whether we're talking about RPGs or movies or comic books or video games, that that the people making them are leftists or SJWs because of their Twitter or whatever, but that the product itself doesn't really have anything in it that is like trying to hammer into your skull some kind of political message, versus the type of games that are, because there are games, RPGs and comics and movies and video games that have that. And that you're looking at it and you're going, well, this is just propaganda, right? Like Morkborg, I don't like the people who made it. And I think also it's not particularly creative as an OSR game. It's just got like this ridiculous edgy facade to it, right? Like it's just basically cosplay, but it doesn't introduce anything interesting different from D&D.
I'm very edgy.
But it's not political, right?
It's not political. The other thing as well is because it's got that open license and so many people, you know what I mean? Like the only thing that they've done is the core bill. Well, I bought the core bill book, and I suppose they did print the Heretic books as well, so I suppose I did buy them. But you know what I mean? Like, there's other people creating. You know what I mean? It's not just them for the system. So again, like, I don't know. I don't want to pin it all down to the one group of people. And as I say, I think sometimes you have to divorce yourself from the reality of the art and the product. You know what I mean? And be that actual art or be that music or anything, I think sometimes you have to forget politics. You know what I mean? From time to time. What else can I put on it?
Fair enough. Job, any more questions? Job, are you with us?
I think he's
muted. I am
muted.
God damn it. What is this, a work meeting here?
Fuck it. Fucking boomers and technical difficulties. Oh my God. I've watched a good few of your podcasts, and I've actually really enjoyed it. I was like, you know what, actually I really want to come on. And then it's like every fucking half an hour, it's like, Job, could you fucking fix something, man? You know what I mean? every time. It's actually kind of funny. I'll give it that. You know.
Right, well, hopefully those days are mostly behind us.
Yeah.
So there's a few
Yeah.
pretty bad ones. I don't know. I should go back and trim them.
Don't worry about it, man.
Okay, so how did you grow your channel?
I don't know. I'll be straight up. I have no fucking idea. Okay, so I'll tell you a funny story. So I was making video, as I said, I was doing one video a week, and I was just doing it for fun because I didn't have any money. If I didn't have any money to buy models to paint, so I would either be sitting down doing a lot of painting, or I would make a video that week, and that's kind of what I did for ages. And I ran into a bit of bother in work. It's one of those ones. I worked for a company for 7 years, and they were a dog shit company, to say the least. And the problem I ran into was, so what they did was, I was supposed to start at 12, but then they changed on the loot. I was supposed to be in at 10, and no one rang us up and told us. So I showed up at 12, and they turned around and said, "Oh, you're late for 2 hours. What's this about?" So they suspended me for a week with pay. So I was like, right, fuck this. And the channel was only starting to get big. It was sitting about, I think I had about 7,000 subscribers at this point. So I said, right, I'm going to make a video every day then while I'm off, you know, because I'm still getting paid anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I did that, and it actually came out more than what I would normally have made. I was like, fuck, that's not bad. Actually, you know what? Let's proper go for this. And so after about 4 months, you know what I mean, of really going hard at it, I was able to start doing it full time, and been at it ever since. So I'm very happy for that. You know what I mean? I think again, I don't know how. I don't know. I didn't do any weird stuff. I kind of just I do stuff that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? And the way I look at it is, if I like it, I think the other people that watch us I feel like they're very similar to me in a weird sense, because, and I'm sure you guys get the same feeling. You know, if someone you're watching isn't enjoying what they're doing, why are they even doing it? You know what I mean? Why are they even into it? What's the point? Like, you know, you need to be enjoying what you're trying to do. Otherwise, what's the point? Would that be fair to say? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a difficult topic to talk about, I feel like, a lot of time. And here, I'll tell you guys a funny story. So actually, I did an update video the other day. So I got an email from Disney. So I did. And have any of you guys seen this new Marvel RPG that's coming out? Or I don't know. I think it might already be out. But anyway, Disney sent me an email, and very healthy payday. And they were asking, like, "Oh, would you be interested in, like, you know, reviewing this?" But I've already heard from a lot of people it's dog shit. You know what I mean? So I was really thinking about just doing a video and being like, "You guys, by the way, the next video I put out is ugly shite, but I want this mad payday from Disney. So guys, don't listen to a word I say in it. I'm just gonna suck their dick, all right? I'm gonna get that fat bag of fucking Disney money, guys, all right?" And you know, like, don't listen to it. After a week, I could, like, you know, delete it, whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Once the money's in, it's like, sweet, fucking go for it. You know. So I'm tempted.
Yeah, because you know, the problem with Disney, or well, with a lot of this stuff with Wizards of the Coast too, right? Is that you have to be, you know, they'll pay you, but then you're basically doing an infomercial, right? Like, you're not, you can't be critical of it at all, right?
Yeah, and that's what I don't like. And honestly, I don't even want to, like, talk about stuff that I don't enjoy. I don't want to be. I feel like I don't want to be negative about shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'm not interested. I'm not interested in shit that just does you dick in. You know what I mean? Like, imagine doing that every day. Like, oh, I'm going to talk about something that I absolutely fucking despise on a daily basis. Like, that's just going to make you miserable, man. You know what I mean? You just can't keep up with that. Like, it's not for me at all. I like doing stuff that I'm interested in, and stuff that I want to do, and stuff that I really, like, enjoy. Because
yeah, I'm right.
I've worked enough shit jobs in my life. I want to do stuff that I actually am into. You know what I mean? That's what makes it worthwhile. You know.
Okay. I just want to call out, we got 3 subscribers since last few minutes. So January Fugitives, Nix, and Sean Driscoll CG, if I wrote that down fast enough. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it.
Welcome aboard.
All right.
So, Venger, you've been pretty quiet tonight. Do you have any questions for our guest?
I don't think you can understand a fucking
Have you
word
done
I've
any
said.
research at all? And can you understand what he's saying? Because
Yes,
I'm Canadian, so I can understand, right? But
yeah,
see, this is
I
the
grew
problem.
up with watching all sorts of British TV, like British comedy, and also things like Doctor Who and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I can understand them.
A wee bit.
Yeah.
Something. It's like
so
you said 10 words, I can get 3 of them. You know.
Do you play Morkborg like right now?
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm a horrible DM. Actually, I kind of laugh about it because of how bad I am. I'm a horrible player as well, but I have fun. And I've DM'd in the past month and a half about 5 games. And I've really, honestly, it's the most fun I've had with role-playing games in a long time. Like, genuinely, I'm loving it at the minute. So, like, I don't know what else I could put on that, but it's a lot of fun. For me, anyway. You know what I mean? So,
what makes it fun for you, like, right now?
Fun for me? You know what it is? So, I already told you, I'm really big into 40K and stuff. And for me, so I'm nostalgic for 3rd edition Warhammer 40K, like grim, dark-esque, over the top, like that 1980s British, will be the right words, parody and satire. That's the shit that I love, and I feel like Morkborg actually kind of okay. It's like it's a weird intimidation of it, or and fuck me, man. Yeah, imitation. Okay. It does have parody to a certain extent. When you really, I feel like it's got a lot of parody and it's very on the nose a lot of the time. And I don't know, I'm just really enjoying it. And be honest with you, I haven't really looked into any other OSR systems. But also, the other good thing is it's actually easy to convince the meets to actually play it at the same time because it is so goals out. It's like, look, man, goals are on one page. And the other thing that I love about it is so it's only a 1-page RPG, but there's so many optional goals to put in. Like, it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be, and that's what I really like about it. So I think you can really ramp it up or scale it down in any way, shape, or form. I like the modular ability of it. Would that be fair to say? I don't know. Yeah. That's what's drawn me into it. Like, the thing is, see, I was looking at the Dungeon Crawl Classic, and it's a fucking tome. Like, let's be serious. It's a fucking tome. And I was looking at it, it's like, man, I don't really want to learn all these rules, and chances are no one's wanting to play with me. You know what I mean? So what's even the point? Then I came across that 1 page. Come on. It's 1 page. Fucking get on it. You know what I mean? If you can play 5e, you can fucking play this. Catch yourself on. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm really enjoying about it, So it's easy to actually get people to jump on board, and once they actually start playing it, they're like, oh yeah, actually this isn't bad. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why.
Okay, one more question. Are you big into painting?
Yeah, man. I love. Yeah, do you want me to get some titties out for you?
Yeah,
send
me some titties.
Yeah, let me get. So this is one of my favorite models.
I want to see those titties.
Type T in the chat if you want to see titties.
Fucking spilt my beer, buddies. So this would be one of my favorite painted models. I painted her quite a few years ago. It's a Keeper of Secrets. I don't know if you can really see that, but I think she came out quite nice. Kidding. Yeah, let me see if I can get a focus on her.
There's a nice C cup there.
Yeah.
Pan down. I see the camel toe. What's going on there?
Nice party wee fucking things.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I think she came out quite nice. But again, this is one of the other big things as well. See, with Morkborg, it's got a very heavy art style. Would that be fair to say? Everything's like black and white or hyper yellow. So I haven't been painting very much in the past couple of years because everyone just plays online these days, you know what I mean? But it's actually got me back into painting as well because it's black and white. So like really I'm just using contrast paints, heavy wash, some highlights, and it looks banging, and then you just spray paint the pieces fucking yellow, and it actually like it fits the tone, it fits the feel, and it looks good, and it's really simple. So it's actually got it. So it's not just got me DMing again, it's actually got me painting again. So that's I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? Like it's hitting a lot of itches for me that I haven't been able to do in a long time.
Well, I have to say, you are the first guest we've had on here, probably, who has ever played Morkborg, and also the first guest who's ever shown titties on our program. So that was
man.
a two firsts.
Man, I'm the titty merchant of, I sell all the titties of the day. You know what I mean? That's my fucking bread and butter, boys. You know what I mean?
So explain. Tell
what?
everyone about your shop.
Oh, my shop. Yeah.
What's your side hustle here?
So one of my big jobs would be models. Like, I'm really big into models. I do a lot of 3D printing. They come out really nice, so they very crisp, very clean, and I'm very happy with them. And I get all this grief because I slag the fuck out of furries on a daily basis. I don't slag them off that much these days, but I used to. You know what I mean? I used to be like, furries, fucking, you don't want near them. You know what I mean? Like, all this, I was giving them mad stacks of abuse. And, but I would still be selling, like a lizard with big fat titties on her. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're slagging off furries, but you're selling fucking scaly fucking models and all that shit. It's like, well, man, I'm a businessman, right? I'm a you know what I mean? I'm hyper libertarian at heart. And like, if the money's there, the money's there, so I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That's why I would look at it, I would be but I love doing it again. Mixing, I'm really interested in like mixing like shit that you're interested in, shit that you enjoy. Again, I already told you guys I'm way more into I started off as more of like a war gamer than anything. And I see, whenever I first started, like, I went to a game, it was like an open day, and they were doing Theater of the Mind. I was like, wait, this shit's fucking gay. I'm not doing I need a battle map. Like, give me models. Like, I want models. I want lovely terrain. I want a really nice setup. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm interested in. And I was like, Theater of the Mind? It's like 21 questions. You know what I mean? It's like, am I close enough? Is there a bookshelf here? Is there a table? Can I flip this table? You're asking your DM like all these different questions. Whereas if you just had a battle map, it's like, right, there you go, job done. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's the way I view it.
Is that the way you DM with everything? Do you have like the dollhouse and
I got
little bags of shit everywhere and
yeah. You got no idea. My well, to be fair, most of it's packed away and up in the attic, so it is these days, because I haven't played 40k, and I stopped playing 40k around the end of 7th edition, so I did. And again, I'm only recently getting back into painting and whatnot, so one of those ones I'm still trying to get everything up to speed, and it's one of those ones you pick up a paintbrush after like 2-3 years, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? You know what I mean? You look at your hands, it's like, some mistakes have been made along the way, but we're getting there.
All right, so if someone's going to check out your channel, NECKBEARDIA Reborn on YouTube, do you have a favorite, like a funniest episode or something you can tell someone to get started on?
So I think it was a good one last week. I really enjoyed. Megan was slagging the fuck out of us. So I'll tell you. So I'm really like socially inept, to say the least. I'm sure you guys can already tell that. And so I'm really, as I said already, I'm getting really big into work. And so I'll tell you the first story. The first story is me and Megan went to a game store, and she was like, I don't want to go to the game store. We've already been recognized once. Please no. But I haven't been in ages, so I was like, right, come on, let's just do it. You know what I mean? I haven't been in ages, and I want to check out and see what they've got. And you'd never go on camera anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I went over to I was looking at the Dark Heresy stuff, and there was a box of, have you guys seen that, the new Lord of the Rings one, the One Ring, it's called? And I was looking at, and a guy came over to us and was asking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking to like run a game with that in the summer and whatnot. And I said, man, it's not really for me. I'm too much of a I like to shitpost an awful lot. I have a hard time taking stuff seriously. I like to have fun. In other words, I'm a horrible player for the most part, but I have a hard time of like being serious. And I feel like Tolkien stuff, as much as I love it, as beautiful I find it, I have a hard time actually pulling it off and taking it seriously and being able to actually role play within that world. And I just said to him, like, man, I'm a pretty bad player. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty bad. Like, it's and he was, it's like, oh, okay, well, look, if you're interested, let us know. And you dropping all your spaghetti falling out.
Anyway, I think.
Anyway,
Sorry, my cat just fell. She was sleeping. She fell off the table here.
Oh, poor kitty. Poor kitty. Poor kitty.
She's okay, guys.
So the guy goes ahead and he's like, oh, well, okay, add us on Facebook. Sure, my name's so-and-so. So I go ahead and add him on Facebook. It's been a week and a half and he hasn't accepted my friend request. I don't know. I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. Megan was just laughing at us like, "Fuck it, James, you can't make friends. You're not cut out for this whole social thing, are you?" You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I think is funny because my job, like what we do, is it's very social. It's like it's talking to people. Well, it's me talking to her, I suppose, but I'm incapable of actual human contact a lot of the time. Everyone's like, "Oh God, stay away from him." You know what I mean? Gone for the hills. It was a funny video. She was sitting taking the piss out of us for ages. I enjoyed it. It was only like last week. I can't remember what it's called. It was one of those ones. I don't know. I wouldn't say I've got a definitive video for anything. It's all over the show what we do, you know. And I suppose sometimes personalities come out better than others, you know.
All right, and Snake Dude for life. Thanks for the sub.
Snake Dude, he's on every video. He's a cool guy. So he's a hyper libertarian to say the least. He's kind of funny. I think he's funny.
I think we're getting a lot of subscribers tonight thanks to this crossover. You know.
Yeah, it'd be like, James, you may be a spastic cunt, but like, you know, I guess you're going to give us subscribers, so thank you very much.
Yeah, it's working. The plan is working, guys.
Yeah, it's like get them in here, you know. But no, it's one of those ones. I don't know. It's interesting whenever you think about it a lot of the time, because like again, it is a hyper-social thing that we do, but I'm actually really bad at actually talking to people a lot of the time. It's a strange one, you know. Yeah,
hobby, I think. So yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure that I understood your answer to the question about what's the funniest episode that someone should seek out if they want to check out your content.
I couldn't tell you honestly.
I like the dragon dildos that you did. I think that was your last one.
That was a Lee upload, so it was that was a funny video. Funny. Yeah. Don't put dragon. Just no, please don't. That was pretty brutal. I couldn't believe it whenever I saw it at the time. I was like, "What the actual fuck is going on with people?" I'll never understand it, but like, whatever you're into, I suppose.
Anyway, I don't know. Check that one out. They're not all about dildos or anything. But I thought
some of them are. Some of them are. But yeah, that one was actually that one was a funny video. I enjoyed that one. That was good recording. So it was.
All right.
So does I'm wondering if the live chat here, if any of the people on the chat have questions for James,
say we should turn
a good time for you to post them.
Do you want to hear some drunken ramblings of a fucking madman? You know, let's see what happens.
Come on,
I'll
scroll back and see if I can find anything that we missed. But
I think maybe while the audience is thinking of questions, we might want to do the pimping section of the show here, Joe.
Okay, yeah, let's hop over there. So, do the guests first. I don't remember. Yeah, we'll do the guests first.
I'm waiting for a piss and a fag here, boys. I'll be back in a wee minute, all right?
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, all right, you're up, Pundit. I got the old school companion 2 up there still.
All right, so just so you guys know, as usual, I got a lot of games here that James probably wouldn't find all that interesting, to be honest, but you might if you're watching. So, my old school companion 2 is still currently my newest product. It's 320 pages of adventures, all of which are based on real medieval history, legend, and folklore. It's doing very well right now in the sales ranking, you could say. And if you're looking for adventures to run for your OSR game, I mean it's made for Lion and Dragon, but you can use it for just about anything OSR, and it'll definitely be different adventures than the sort of things you're going to get from Wizards of the Coast. Speaking of which, Lion and Dragon, medieval authentic role playing, still my best-selling book of all time. If you're watching this because you've come here from Neckbeardia, Lion and Dragon is actual medieval fantasy. You've never actually played medieval fantasy if you've only played D&D or Morkborg. Here, yeah, you've got a medieval fantasy game that is based on actual, the medieval paradigm and all kinds of excellent stuff. Again, from medieval legends, history, folklore, and magic. And if you like, for example, what's it called? Kingdom Come, the video game. Or even if you like, like Game of Thrones, it's a much grittier game than D&D 5th edition. So you should take a look at it. Somebody's just asked about Sword and Caravan. That's my upcoming game. It's not out yet, but it should be out by either the end of May or the beginning of June at the latest. It's already in the proof stage, so we're just waiting for it all to check out, like the printed version to be okay, and then it'll be out for sale. And Sword and Caravan does indeed take place in the 12th century, as Redshift just asked. It's a complete campaign guide for playing in the Middle East and the Silk Road from between the time of the Third Crusade until the Mongol invasions. And it's full of stuff from all of the historical legends, monsters, myth, magic of all the cultures that you can find on the Silk Road, everywhere from Damascus to China, or from Jerusalem to China, if you prefer. So you've got it's going to be all kinds of excellent stuff that you can use, again, in any OSR game, though, especially if you like Lion and Dragon. And if you're more into weird fantasy, like James seems to be, then I would suggest you check out World of the Last Sun, which is completely the opposite of my Lion and Dragon series. It's a weird gonzo fantasy in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world with all kinds of crazy and unusual stuff that should be good for you to run as a setting as a whole, or to take stuff you like and put it into your game. Well, I guess that's about it for me today. I think check out all my products. I think there'll be links in the description below. George Whittlebach, Lorraine McLaren Hoopy just asked if I've killed Catboy yet. George, you haven't been keeping up with the latest episodes of Bill the Elf's channel, I see. Catboy is not dead. However, he has retired. So he's no longer part of the party. We've got he decided to quit in order to raise his half Catboy, half Minotaur children. So that's the sort of weird stuff you find in the World of the Last Sun. I guess that's everything for me, Joe.
Alrighty. Venger.
Okay.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to put your damn thing. All right. While you talk, I'm going to just start talking about VengerCon first.
Okay. So VengerCon is a small little garage band role-playing convention like you might have found in the late 70s, early 80s. It's being held this July in Madison, Wisconsin. And tickets still available. You can find the link on Tabletop Games, or what's it? Something like that. Tabletop Experiences. I don't know. Wherever you put conventions, you can find it. And then there's Chult Chartreuse Shadows, which is book 3 of the Chult trilogy. Actually commissioned Monstark, who does a lot of the Chult artwork. I commissioned him to do a cover for book number 4, even though that is at least a year off, and maybe longer. Who knows when I'll get to book 4. But just in case something happens to him, I've had artists just like decide to quit making art, and some probably over the last 10 years have died or whatever, or moved to France. And sometimes they just don't. Tabletop events. That's where you can go. Thank you, Shadzar, to find VengerCon information. But anyway,
hey, I want to. Sorry, I was clicking during your thing. I forgot to mute. But I just want to ask you one thing. How did your game go at that game store the other day, where people freaked out?
Oh yes, that was part just me trolling the Misty Mountain Games shop, where I used to play before the pandemic. Maybe sometimes once a month I'd play there. Besides the lackluster conditions, I usually had a good time there. But as we talked about in another episode, they wanted to ban me for a variety of reasons. And so I said I was coming there anyway. Like, even if they didn't want me, I was still showing up. What are you going to do about it? So I engaged them on Facebook, and that turned into a whole thing. And that YouTube guy that kind of like stalks me and talks about me got into it and thought that I was going to like try to suicide myself by cop or something. I don't know. It was ridiculous. So part me trolling, part sort of like an April Fool's prank. In part, I was actually thinking about maybe actually showing up and maybe protesting the fact that I had been banned unfairly. But I didn't go. I didn't show up. And but apparently they had like a police presence. I don't know to what extent that was. I don't know if they had a SWAT team or if they had like.
What, they called the police to stop you from showing up?
Yeah, I don't know, but apparently, and then everyone was coming out of the woodwork like, "We're prepared. You're going to get served like a $2,500 fine if you just like show your face near the store." I'm like, "What the fuck? Who are these fucking people?" So that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, who knows? Maybe I'll be back, and maybe I will show up. You never know.
I like the way Venture, you said the artists have either died or gone to France, as if there's a difference.
I believe I believe the term is le petit mort. That's when you move to France. Yeah,
yeah, you go like fucked up if you went to France. Yeah, you will.
Either way,
fucked up
you're on the tail.
Yeah.
I'd personally rather go to France than die, but
yeah, I played D&D with.
I don't know if there's brothels in hell. I'm sure there probably are.
Probably is.
I know there are in France.
Yeah, it probably is. Well, it's not far off. Maybe it may as well be the same thing. I play D&D with a guy from France, and he's like, "I'm not fucking French. I am from Brittany. I am not French. I'm telling you." It's like, you're fucking French, man. All right, calm down. he cracks it. He does crack it.
So there's the new book, Chartreuse Shadows. Eventually, there'll probably be a book 4 because I've already commissioned the artwork for the cover of book 4, and I have a sketch that's fantastic. And then I'm coming up with, to commemorate the whole Roe versus Wade Supreme Court thing, I'm coming up with a brand new, very short and sweet Schultz scenario that will deal with certain issues like that, like abortion.
Yeah.
And that's going to be called The Good Sumerian. And that should be out by next weekend. And it'll just be like a standalone 4 or 5 page PDF. Should have all the fun and all the weird post-apocalyptic Eldritch Gonzo trimmings that you'd expect. And there's a picture of that too. So I don't know if Joe can bring that up at some point. But there is.
I figured out why it wasn't showing up. It'll be on the screen in 2 seconds, dude. Okay.
So I've got same artist, Monstar, who does amazing stuff. And so he's going to have the artwork for the cover finished sometime this next week, like by Wednesday or something like that. But for right now, I have like a work in progress sketch that I approved because so far it's looking really good. And I think that's it then. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Wait, I did it. I finally got your damn image to show. It's on the screen now. You can see there's like
there it is.
A demon stabbing a baby or something. I don't know. What's going on in this picture?
So you pretty much summed it up just right there. Yeah.
So would you say that's
there's a gigantic golden idol statue, whatnot, and at the base, which you can't really see, but at the base, there's a golden basin for the sacrifice, and then everything that goes along with that for the Supreme Court and our conservative judges and all the mothers out there and the babies and whatnot. So hopefully you buy that. And if you love Chult out there, please write a review or make a video or talk about it online. Do something.
What's that an idol of in the back? Is that Margaret Sanger in the background there?
I sent Monstark like 3 or 4 references, like various things that I found on the internet that were similar to what I had in my head, and then I let him kind of take artistic license. Since this is a sketch, I don't think it's gonna look exactly like that when it's done. This is just kind of like
so. I think you fucked up here. I think you should have put Nancy Pelosi's face on the big idol, if I'm honest with you.
Whose face?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh. Why didn't want it to be a horror scenario?
Well, you don't want the face melting off, you know what I mean? So
we don't want a horror abortion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, really.
Horror abortion.
We're going for comedy. The dramedy.
I have to look at this thing too.
Oh, we're gonna have an abortion, but like this one's gonna be a horror one, as if there's a fucking difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, Venger Satanis, the pro-life Cthulhu worshiper.
That's right. Well, Anton LaVey was always pro-life. Never wanted to harm children, which is a lot different than the leftists, Satanists out there nowadays that you hear about in the news. That are pro-abortion, and you can abort your kid up to 7 years because there's no God and who gives a shit.
To be fair, most 7-year-olds I've met are fucking retards, so you know what I mean. You really, let's be serious.
Having said all that, I got to go do some more Mother's Day duties. With my lovely wife.
Oh.
So good show, everybody. Thank you. Amazing audience. See you next month. Rock out.
All right. See you later, Venger.
See ya.
Oh, fuck. Venger, you fucked. You just fucked all our screens.
Did he?
It's kind of funny, to be honest with you. It's kind of funny. Just a wee bit.
Whatever.
Is my screen? Am I looking at this right? That it says Venger, but it shows my Arrows of Indra icon there.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh, hey, our video's okay-ish. Yeah, I think our video's fine. Me and James. Oh, our video's fine. So I'll just go put the overlay for Venger's alter ego, Anton LaVey.
There you go.
We go.
Trust Venger to always make product out of incredibly limited topical subjects,
but that's what generates interest a lot of the time. You know what I mean? It's flash in the pan type shit. I feel like what that wouldn't be. I feel like that's not too far off what I do, because what I'm really interested in doing is I do like 5e mean tier subclasses. You know what I mean?
Oh, so I got a screenshot of that. Actually, shut the hell up. Wait, we're in the middle of our shilling. Hold on. I got to show my shit real quick, and then you're next.
Okay. It's Job's turn.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm real quick. All right. Book of Antithesis is still the book I like most book. So us.lfp.com. And you can also get a couple of my little zine adventures at bloodyhammergames.com. Got it. And James, you're up. I got your screen. I got like a link to your shop up on the screen, and you can see I can see Stale Water, The Conspiracy, Murder Hobo. Facts don't care about your feelings.
if you guys are interested, check it out. I think they're funny. Like they're probably not that good, but at least they're funny. And the models are actually really good. If to be honest with you, I really like them, and something to check out. But that's about it. You know, I don't want to go too much into it. You know, I don't want to.
Is that a Ben Shapiro? Wait, is that a Ben Shapiro D&D source book? Is that what I'm looking at there?
No, yeah, that's the Facts Don't Care About Your Feelings Bard. I think it's pretty funny, to be honest with you. If you want,
great, I gotta say.
If you want, I'll send you them. I think they're funny, at least, like, you know, and you know, I like to say, of course, I'm going to say, like, they're well put together. I think they're, like, you know, within my abilities, I think they're well put together. But my main objective is to make comedy gold. I want to, because the thing is, I've already said this. I'm not a good player. I like to take the piss. I like to fuck about. You know what I mean? And why would I go ahead and make something that's very serious and very, you know, it's just not me. Like, you know, whenever you're writing any RPG related stuff, it's almost like, I hate to sound fucking gay, but it's like you're putting your soul into it. Like, you know, it's like you're conveying your mind into a character almost, or like a play style, whatever, you know what I mean? And that's why, like, you know, it's like, well, I'm not going to do the serious stuff. I'm not going to try and do like the mastercraft and stuff, because that's not that's not what I'm interested in, or that's not what I'm able to do. But what I can do is I can make stuff that's kind of funny, you know.
That is funny.
That's what I would put on there. Check out the other one. Scroll down and we touch, and you'll see. I think they're good anyway. Like, you know. Job, you're muted.
Oh God, thank you. And you also sell like 3D models. Do you sell actual physical models, or just like
yeah, the models, like yeah.
Do you ship all over the world, or
everywhere. I sell it everywhere, you know. So I got a couple from Russia not that long ago, but I don't think I'm going to get any more anytime soon, you know. But yeah, everywhere, you know. Anywhere, go on mail posting.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and just take it back to the chat. So I wrote down a couple questions from the peanut gallery here. The first one was from Guard Bro. That, hey James, tell them about the time you sold elves as femboy slaves.
Look, Garblue was asking for that time. So Garblue is looking to show his set in his system, and he okay. So we were playing this game. We're playing an all centaur party because Garblue definitely doesn't have a centaur fetish. Trust me, guys, he actually doesn't. He definitely doesn't, guys. So anyway, we're all playing centaurs. So we decided to fuck about, and I believe Garblue into give me a grenade launcher, even though a level 1 character should never get the hands on a grenade launcher, and it was a lot of fun. But anyway, so what happened was we were in the part of town and we were asking about, it's like, right, so what's in these warehouses? Like, you know, what type of dirty dealings are we talking here? And it's like, well, one guy does like arms, one guy does like a bit of trafficking, some guys narcotics, all that type of stuff. And like, trafficking, you say? Well, so we went out to salvage mission on an, like, you know, it was a deserted battlefield, but there was all the gear that was still out about. So we went scavenging essentially, and what you know, we got into some elves, and of course, like, you know, we kicked the fuck to the elves, and we got 2 hostages, and we decided to paint them up, and one of them was a stinker, but the other one turned into quite a nice fanboy, and we got a couple hundred gold for him. So Garblue was disgusted by that, but I said to him, look, that's your fault. You shouldn't have said there was human traffickers in this system, right? I'm all about the money, so, you know, that's your fault, man. That's all I'm saying. Or if you didn't want it, don't put it in your system. That's what I'm saying. You know, if you didn't want to turn the elves into femboys, you shouldn't have fucking give us the opportunity, right?
All right, so
see, this is why I don't think you guys got it. You guys just didn't get it. I said to people, like, I'm really not that good of a player. Like, trust me, you guys don't want me in your game. And they're like, I'm sure you're not that bad. It's like, yeah. I'm probably not as bad as Job, all right? I'm good. You know what? Actually, I completely forgot to say, you admitted to crime in your book. Yeah. Do you remember? Yeah, like, so. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I should have read this earlier because it's been a few months, right? But there's a point in your book, right? And you're talking about you're at, like, someone was murdered at the beach. Is this?
Oh
Am
yeah.
I, am I,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you said you were picking stuff up from the crime scene. I just left.
It was just coral.
Like you just started picking shit up. And like, I'm awake. I see you right.
Oh, the body was like way buried in the sand, you know? It was just like coral.
I don't think you can talk over the crime scene though.
Well, the cop was right there. He was starting to cordon it off. He could have said, "Hey, stop, drop it."
Yeah, he could have, but he didn't. Fuck me, man. I don't know. I thought it was really funny. It was a free man that pointed that out to me. I was like, no way. So I went to check. Fuck off. He actually did. sorry if I said too much.
Right,
I thought it was fun. It was really funny though. If I'll be honest with you, I was like, fuck off. He actually did.
Well, the statute of limitations hasn't run out on fucking with a crime scene, but I think I'm in the clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought this was a good one for you, Pundit. So Samo's 1017 said, "What does OSR mean? I'm new to the channel." I don't think he's trolling. I think maybe NECKBEARDIA guy coming over. Do you want to answer that?
Right. So the OSR means the old school Renaissance, or some people say the old school revival. And what it's basically about is that the point is to take the original D&D rules, right? Like the essential, most basic rules of Dungeons and Dragons, inspired mainly by the older editions of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like the really early ones from like the 70s and 80s. And then either to recreate those original books, that's what's called a clone, where it's basically pretty much the same rules as in the old books, but in a new book that is easier to get. That's what it kind of started out as. Nowadays, that's not as popular anymore. But instead, what the OSR has evolved into is a design school where you take those core D&D rules and remake them to fit something different, right? To make a particular game that fits a particular style of play. So, for example, my own game, Arrows of Indra, is based on first edition D&D, but it is remade to fit for playing in the mythical setting of the epic Indian myths. So you're playing in like classic India around the time of the Mahabharata and Krishna and all that stuff, right? And so it's full of all kinds of stuff that's adventuring from kind of Indian mythology. And there's a lot of examples. I mean, there's like OWB, Operation White Box, which is the original D&D rules modified so that instead of being, playing in a fantasy world, you're playing special forces like commandos during World War II going on missions in occupied Europe, and there's like literally hundreds of OSR games and probably thousands of OSR products when you count the adventures and source books and stuff. And what they let you do is, first of all, you're playing interesting new games, all done by independent game designers that are going to have totally different perspectives on D&D from, like what the official products are like. And they're all compatible with each other because they're all based around that core of D&D. So you can if you're playing Morkborg, you can pick up my World of the Last Sun setting and you play that with the Morkborg rules, or you can take stuff out of that and use them in your campaign. And the mechanics are all going to be basically compatible with each other. So it means that you can mix and match all kinds of materials. You can run adventures that were made for one OSR game using a totally different OSR game. And you can combine all kinds of ideas. And the requirement of designing a new game, but playing within the painting within the lines of the basic D&D structure actually has ended up producing a lot of really incredible games. So it's really the hottest design movement in tabletop RPGs right now, and has been for several years. I hope that explains it.
Okay, we got another one from Redshift. Hello all. Will Sword and Caravan? It says hello all, but they're talking to you. Will Sword and Caravan take place during the 12th century?
Yeah, I kind of answered that already when I was doing my pimping. Yes, the default starting date for Sword and Caravan is 1191. It assumes, you don't have to run it that way, but it assumes that your characters are European adventurers that have come to the Middle East during the Third Crusade, the Crusade of Richard Lionheart against Saladin, and from there you can participate in the Crusades, or you can decide to be among the very first Europeans who go across the Silk Road all the way to China, and it'll have material in it for running. You can run characters that are from those regions. There are some new classes. There's new styles of magic. There's monsters, all based on local mythology, and of course, detailed information on every area of the Silk Road at its very peak, at the point where it was the most important trade route in the world before Genghis Khan came along and tore it all to pieces.
So I got a question for you, Pundit, then, because so I really enjoy Morkborg. I love how simple it is, and I love the way it can become way more complex if you want it to be. I like the setting, even though you guys are going to call that mega cringe. What would you recommend to me? So when it comes to history, I love the Roman Republic. I don't like the Empire. I like the Republic, and I love World War One. What would you recommend to me personally?
Well, first of all, in terms of Morkborg's style, with that kind of both gritty and weird fantasy, there are a couple of products that are made by people on this show that I might recommend to you. So one of them would be my own World of the Last Sun, which has all kinds of weird fantasy stuff in it, and you could take stuff on the whole or in part. There's cities, there's classes, there's flying ships, there's all kinds of random tables, there's mechanics, and there's all sorts of other stuff that you can mix and match and take what you want and use it running your existing Morkborg game, for example. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm only saying it because Venger's not here anymore. The other thing you should really look at is Chalt, which is Venger's.
I was looking at that. Earlier, and it did actually look pretty interesting. I did actually like the look of it. I spent about 2 hours looking at it. I was like, should I pick it up? And I was like, you know what? I might just ask him, yo, Venger, mate, send us a wee copy there, would you? I was like, I'm not bad that shit. You send us a wee copy there, but
it is pretty batshit weird fantasy. His style is a little bit more goofy than mine, but it's got a lot of really, really good stuff there. And the thing about World of the Last Sun is not a rule book, right? So it's just a setting book, and you can use the stuff there with whatever rules you want. But Venger, in his book, what he has is mechanics that are an ultra slimmed down version of the 5th edition rules. But you can use that very easily with something like Morkborg, because it's so slimmed down that it's essentially OSR. So in both cases, those are products that you could get. I don't think that there is I don't recall, maybe somebody in the audience does. I don't think that there is anything on the Roman Republic that has been done for OSR yet. Maybe there will be in the future. I know sooner or later I'm going to do something to do with Rome, but that might be many, many years from now.
Wasn't there an actual old school one, Man and
there was a second edition source book about Rome, back in the 90s. It was a pretty good one, but it was made very much for second edition D&D. It had all the kits and rules that are from second edition and that are not necessarily found in other versions of D&D. And then the other thing you said was World
War One. It would be
World War One.
Yeah, jeez. I love. I know it doesn't lend itself very well to an RPG setting, does it? But there's something about World War One. It's the 40k in me. I love that grim dark. I love the misery of it all. Almost I'm a bit of an edgy boy. You know what I mean? So I can't help it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know of a World War One setting OSR game.
I
There's
think
a
I
World
think
War
I
II
do.
one. Oh well, there
Well,
you go. Fair enough.
no, World War II, boring as fuck. I don't like it. It's not for me. World War II, I'm not interested in it. It's like, so I'm from Northern Ireland, and most of my family's from down south and whatever. Of course, Ireland was part of the British Empire at the time, so most of my family were in World War One. Not many of them were in World War II, so I'm not really all that.
Well, yeah, because so things changed a bit in 1918, didn't they?
Yeah, so I'm not really World War II to me. And again, it's not got that brutality. It doesn't have especially in the Western Front. The Western Front's very gentle. You know what I mean? It's very gentleman-like, almost, as far as you can. But it's got nothing on the Eastern Front. But World War One to me is meat grinder or like man's inhumanity to man, and that's what
it would be. It would be a good setting to do some kind of either a horror-based RPG, on the the butchery of war and whatnot, or to do something that has to do with like espionage and stuff like that.
I suppose. Yeah, you could work that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know of any that is set there actually.
Yeah, there is a World War II Operation White Box. I just had to Google it. But
I was just talking about that. That's
shit. I was trying to search so hard that I didn't even listen to you.
I might check it out, but again, when it comes to World War II, I'm only really interested in Eastern Front and some stuff in the Pacific. You know what I mean?
You know what? Operation White Box wouldn't have setting information about World War One, but if you know a lot about the history of World War One, that's not really what you need. What you need is the mechanics. And what Operation White Box does have is like, character classes, all, based on the D&D rules, right? Character classes and rules and mechanics for playing, kind of elite units of soldiers in that period, which would probably be very easy to convert to a World War One type setting, right?
Well, okay. Well, I'll give you. So I'm not really connected to. I'm for me personally, I'm connected to World War One, but World War II, I will give this one because I've spoken about it before online, so I don't really feel too bad about bringing it up now. You know what I mean? But so Megan, my wife, she is okay. So where we are from is, have you guys ever heard of Blair Mean at all, or Paddy Mean? He's a founder of the SAS. So my dad's first job, or my stepdad's first job, was his golf caddy. He's from where we're from, and my wife's granny's distant cousin. They're related, like but again, small towns type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones. But that would be, but again, like some of the stories, but like he's a horrible human being. He's really not a nice guy at all. But again, like when it comes to that type of mentality, I suppose you need to be extreme. You know what I mean? You need to have that next level character. You know what I mean? You can't be a nice guy. You can't be a friendly human being to do them things. You know what I mean? But that would be the only. And so again, when it comes to World War II, I would only be really interested in the North Africa campaign. That would be it on my front for the most part.
Just to interject, it looks like we got another subscriber. We got Strongar Than You. And we also have Mike Hunt. And,
you're gonna end up getting some of the gamer word, so you're gonna end up with a nagger or something. You know what I mean?
I think people maybe are changing their names before they subscribe to fuck with us.
I was really annoyed with that. I was really like, I was thinking to myself, should I even promote this? Should I even say I'm going on something? Because I know finally what the boys are like. The boys would end up sitting taking the absolute piss out of this. You know what I mean? They'd end up just coming in and just being the worst of the. I just know what they're like. You know what I mean? And that's kind of was like, should I even say that I'm doing this today? It's a hard one to. You know what they're like.
No, it's great though.
But you can't control them. You can't be like, guys, can you guys calm down here for a wee minute? Can you be nice? I'm trying to interact with other people on YouTube for once. You know what I mean? And just be nice. Don't call them dickheads, okay? Be nice. Be nice.
Okay, Snake Dude for Life asks James, or will James put on the goblin mask?
1 second. All right, okay. Let me. I think I scared the child. Was it Megan? Actually scared the child the other day. Hold on 1 second. Make it
Okay,
fine.
you know, goblins are. What are goblins now? Are they Jews?
No.
I don't know, but
That's what I heard.
yeah,
I heard
probably the
no, or is it
SJWs
gnomes?
are always
Gnomes
deciding
might be Jews.
that
No.
certain ethnicities are not human anymore. So like, so ridiculous.
Nah, I can't see the mask. We made the child cry with it the other day. I'm like, it's pretty
I'll
funny.
just wake up the baby.
I'm waiting for a piss here.
The
boys.
mask is currently being used to scare infants, I'm afraid. So you won't see it tonight, I guess.
Well, it was really funny at the time. You should have seen him. He's only like 10 months old. You know what I mean? So he like looks at you, it's like, ooh. And then like the face starts to go. It's like, oh, it's okay, baby, you know.
So you heard it here, folks. James from NECKBEARDIA scarred a kid for life. You know.
Well, he's like, that's what parents do. Do they not fuck their kids up anyway? You know what I mean? That's the whole point. I'm waiting for a piss in effect here. I'll be back in 1 week. I'm sorry, guys.
Damn it, he screwed up my goblin joke. I was going to say, push your ears out and say L'chaim. Okay, well, do you have a goblin mask? How about a yarmulke? What do you got over there, pundit?
No goblin mask, I'm afraid.
Damn it.
Also, it's not like the audience would see me if I did. I could say I did, but no.
All right, well,
I don't cosplay. I'm an adult.
All right, I'll go down to another one here. I got from George Whittlesbach, Lorraine McLaren, Hoopy. That is there a section on Haruspexy in the Book of Antithesis? No, unfortunately, there is not. But I don't know. That'll be in a future release. That's for people that don't know what that is. That's like reading entrails, like divination with.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised you didn't include that.
Right, well,
I've still got to do my review of your book, but I decided to do the review of White, as in the undead power first.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. You guys and your intentional flaming of people. Not trolling of people, rather. I don't know which of you is worse, you, Venger, or Jim Raji.
I think it's Venger. Venger always puts his foot in his mouth, so.
Yeah, he really does. He's a guy that he just there's no switch in between an idea that comes to his head and his mouth, And like, right. By the time he has that product on abortion out, it's already going to be an old issue, Like he's always just like trying to catch whatever is the topical wave, Meanwhile, here I am writing about the Crusades.
Sorry for some people. It took me a while to unblock some of these commands. Oh, here. We murdered me. I don't know why you blocks. I'm too afraid to just let them all go. So.
Murder. Yeah.
Do you see any more questions in here?
I do not.
All right. Well, this is the intermission, folks, while we're waiting for our guest to come back. If you have any questions.
Yeah, if you got questions for any of us, especially James, but it could be for me or Job, feel free to ask. I'm going to have to start running a campaign of Sword and Caravan pretty soon. I was going to, but I was busy doing the final check to confirm that I was satisfied with the book. And let me tell you, the book is freaking beautiful, right? As usual, I'm not publishing it myself. It's being published by Mad Scribe Games. And the whole thing, it looks like an illuminated manuscript, right? Like if you like the art and the style in Dark Albion or Lion and Dragon, you're going to love this because it's also going to be full color all the way. So it'll be visually a very beautiful product.
James is back. Right.
Sorry about that, guys. I like to say that I smoke kind of like. Have any of you guys seen F is for Family?
I don't even know what you said.
Yeah, I've seen
it. Yeah, you know that guy that eats a chicken and smokes the fags? That's kind of me. Except I don't eat the chicken, but I smoke the fags. Like I'm not even joking. I smoke about 1 million fags a day, but I can't smoke in the house anymore because of the child. You know, probably a good thing, but you know.
All right, it looks like we have a couple more for you. Calvin DeJordy question is, what is your favorite? I think this is for everybody. What is your favorite big titty demon of all time?
Megan.
Good answer. For me, I don't know. I'd say it's a bit of a tie. Again, purely nostalgia based, right? Between like the succubus in the first edition D&D.
That was gonna be mine.
Book, and the blind warrior women on the cover of the Rifts RPG. See, Palladium was always really clever about that, right? Because they knew their audience. Their audience was 14-year-old boys, right? And so it was always, you know, PG rated, but like right on the edge, like PG-13 rated, right? You'd never see full nudity in a Palladium book. But what you would see is like tons of robots, mecha, crazy looking monsters and aliens, explosions, and occasional boobies, right? And like that was just like, you know, for 14, 15-year-old nerds, that was gold, right?
Peak. You may not like this, but that's what peak performance looks like.
All right, we got another one from Charles Smith. Are the minis James sells commissions, or was it a designer whose work he liked? I was wondering how he got started selling them.
Okay, so essentially what started me off doing it was because I was getting really big on YouTube at the time, and I was getting a lot of emails from all these different companies, and there was so many horror stories about like, and I don't really want to do, I don't want to like be shilling stuff that is shit. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in shilling stuff that's shit, but I didn't have anything of my own.
You don't like Raid Shadow Legends?
No, I'm not. No, but again, I don't want. But they were offering me shit. You know, like not to name names, but yeah, Raid Shadow Legend was one of them. But again, I don't want to be like, you know, promoting anything that I'm like not interested in. You know what I mean? Would that be fair? And I've like, you know, I'm really big into models, and I've been keeping an eye on 3D printing for years. And it was about the time that resin printers became like really cheap. You know what I mean? Like the Anycubic Photon had just came out at the time. I was like, I'm fucking getting one. And Megan was like really against it. And she was like, James, you have to have like a bucket of petrol to wash them in. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, you know, we've got to spare them. We'll work it out. Anyway, I got the hang of it, and I just started printing from there. And honestly, it was the best thing I ever did, because especially with YouTube, like, you know, YouTube's so unreliable. It's not like, you know, anyone that does it full time as a job is mad that only relies on that and like sponsors, because it's only a matter of time before you upset the mob. You know what I mean? You upset the what was that 1984? You know, the 5 minutes of hate. It's only a matter of time before you end up on that. You know what I mean? Let's be serious. So you got to be doing something for yourself. You know what I mean? You need to be producing something yourself. And that's how I got on the 3D printing. I was looking about, and I saw some designs that I really liked the look of, and I got onto the artist, and they're like, yeah, sure, just pay us like a monthly fee, and you can print out whatever, you know what I mean? You can sell the prints. It was like, sweet as. And that's kind of how it came about. And I really like the prints. I think they look really nice. And again, it's nice because, you know, the way people say, like, working with your hands, all that type of stuff, it's very fulfilling. You know what I mean? Being able to create something yourself. And again, 3D printers, I don't know why you guys aren't into them, because like, you guys don't like Star Trek. Like, you know, like, imagine like a replicator. You know what I mean? Like, it's the coolest shit ever, being able to like print anything.
Oh, yeah, I got a resin printer. I just
do you?
It smells like shit. And
Yeah,
I haven't set it up. I haven't unpacked. So
you need to get on it. But honestly, it's like the coolest shit ever to me. So I love it. You know what I mean? I really, really enjoy it. And it's a solid pastime. You know what I mean? It's more like, it's making money from something that you love doing. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about to me. You know what I mean?
So is like NECKBEARDIA in general, is that your full-time job, or do you also have to have a day job?
No, I don't have a day job. NECKBEARDIA would be my main job. NECKBEARDIA channel and the 3D printing would be my main job. And then I do like 10 different other things. They're all like different projects, stuff that I work with my friends with. And quite a few of them are starting to make like serious money. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones, because I don't trust YouTube, and the way things are going, like I don't even talk about politics on my channel. I really try and avoid it. It's not something that I'm interested. Well, I am interested in it, but I don't want to. I feel like I'm never going to change hearts and minds by going on about it. You know what I mean? And I'm sick of YouTubers fucking garning. Like, you know, see YouTubers, right? What really does my dick in is like, oh guys, I got the money. Oh, I lost this, I lost that, I lost this. You know, you need to remember, like, you know, you're living your dream job. Like, to me, this is my dream job. You know what I mean? Adapt. You know what I mean? Get better. And that's what I feel like I've done. And I've been able to, and let's be honest, we all know what's to come. We're not in for a great time for the future for the next couple of years. It's not going to be fun. And the only way to protect yourself is to insulate yourself with resources, and that's what I intend to do. You know,
totally agree.
That and also having a child really lights a fire under your hole. You know what I mean? It's like putting a Bronson burner to your asshole. It's like, I need to get shit done now. You know what I mean? So and it's worked out quite nicely. You know what I mean? So that's why I would put it. But yeah, NECKBEARDIA, the YouTube channel, would be my main job overall.
Well, good stuff.
Don't talk about politics, because you'll end up with 1,000 subscribers instead.
Well, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, this is what really gets me a lot of time when people say like, oh, about politics. Like, honestly, politics, if anything, it'll divide your audience at least. You know what I mean? What I try and aim for is entertainment. That's what my main goal is. It's entertainment. I don't aim to preach or to change people have already got their fucking positions. You know, I really don't like the idea of, if only I tell them this, then they'll understand better. And I feel like that's very almost condescending in a weird way, because I feel like what we do, what me and Megan does, it's very like, and it's a weird concept at the same time. But whenever, so me and her would be talking, like her pieces are my pieces here. Whenever I'm like turning around and talking to the microphone, I imagine I'm talking to someone that I know. If that makes sense, I imagine that I'm talking to someone that doesn't exist, but does. It's the audience, but I'm talking to them as if they're a person at the same time. Does that make any weird sense? It's like a weird dilemma. It's almost like they know more about you than you'll ever know about them. Do you guys get that at all, or is that just me? I don't know.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And like you know, you're trying to convey emotion, and you know, and the only, like, you know, yeah, you talk to some of them and you'll be able to you know what I mean? You'll be able to get somewhere with some of them, but you're never going to know every single person that watches your videos. You know what I mean? You'll never be able to do that. So it's, you know, it's difficult.
Yeah. Now I got to say, you know, on my channel, I talk about politics in the context of gaming. I don't do videos where I just talk about politics, but you know, a lot of my videos are talking about the politics of the gaming world, and I'd say I've been doing pretty well for myself there. Like, you've got, I think, 6 times as many subscribers as me, and your videos do get a lot of views, but not 6 times as many views as I do, right? So if you build up, you know, if you stand for something and you build up the right audience, you can also, you know, make a good living out of it.
There's a dedicated fan base. There's people that really want to hear what you're talking about. And
that's the thing.
And again, because it's so niche as well. Like, you know, how many people are into role-playing games, and then again, how many people are into OSR games, and then how many people are also very anti SGW. You know what I mean? How many times do you have to break down the niche?
Well, the key is you have to figure out what your audience is, and then make sure that you stick to that, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not just sticking to it. I don't think you have to stick to it. I think, like, you know, because that's what I did. Like, you know, I was forced to go from text speech to voiceovers, and I think we did very well from it. And I actually enjoy doing it way more than what I did back then. You know what I mean? I enjoy it more than what I did. And again, that was like a heavy shift. Like, you know, that was wasn't quite a 180, but like, you know, it was a big turn anyway, to say the least. And like, you know, some people enjoyed it, other people hated it, some people stayed, other people left, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we got a new subscriber here, DM James. I don't know if you know who that is, James, but
no, I couldn't.
We also got a $2 super chat. Where are all the white women at?
Yeah, exactly. where be the white women at? That's what I'm telling you guys. That's what it's all about, guys. That's all I'm saying. You know.
That's funny. Do you know the Ez Knight says, what I hate about a lot of D&D streamers is that they put politics into their games and it's no longer entertainment for me. Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I know that D&D streaming is successful for some people. Of course, you know, there's for every one successful D&D streaming channel, there's probably 10 or 20 that have not been successful. But I've never quite understood the appeal, especially because the most successful D&D streams basically have to turn into like fake shows, you know, like reality shows or something like that. You know, like it's a show about people playing D&D rather than just people actually playing D&D.
Yeah, it turns into like weird reality shit. That's what I got, because like, so me Garpu made his new system and I was like, right, I'll help you out. We'll try and promote as much as we can. And so I was like, right, let's do a Sunday stream. Every Sunday we'll sit down, we'll live stream your game, we'll talk about the mechanics, how they work and all that, and we'll explain it for people that don't know, you know what I mean? Because we were really trying to do it. But after like
that's
5
different.
sessions, but the thing was, after like 5-6 sessions, I was like, mate, I just, you know, the problem was, it's like, I'm turning, like, you know, I love talking about role-playing games, but when it comes to actually playing them on camera, I can't, you know, YouTube's very pernickety about it all, and I can't get across, I can't do what I really like to do on YouTube, you know what I mean? Because as I say, I'm a horrible player, you know, I turned some elves into femboys, for God's sake, and that was on live stream, for God's sake, you know what I mean? There's video evidence of that, so God knows what I get up to in the actual games, so that's why I kind of, it's not for me, you know what I mean? And again, I never got into like Let's Players, I never got into all that, like your PewDiePie sort of Markiplier, all that type of stuff. So it was never something that I engaged with ever. You know what I mean? So it's a very foreign concept. And again, like Joe was talking to me about Twitch earlier before the stream started. I was like, Twitch, and I tried doing Twitch. I like, you know, I would like do some like uploads to Twitch at the same time. But the thing is, I don't use Twitch. I'm not a user of Twitch, so I don't know what you should do. You know what I mean? It's not my realm of expertise. You know what I mean? Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, I anyone who sees my channel knows that I'm also not technically adept, and I'm and I'm very lazy when it comes to doing stuff, right? So my videos, they're never edited. They're always just, you know, they're one take videos, you know, and so I would never do an online, you know, game streaming sort of thing. But we've got my Last Sun campaign, which has been running for like 10 years now. We've got one of my players, he records the audio of us playing Bill the Bill the Elf channel. Check it out. And so you can see there are 4-hour sessions recorded on audio. And they're not very popular, but that's okay, right? Because we're not doing it for any other reason. But the point is, actual video of people playing D&D or playing any other RPG is not really going to be all that popular because it's not a spectator sport. So if you want to make it a spectator sport, you basically need to hire actors or, you know, recruit actors who are going to like over emote and do all this sort of stuff. You know, even if it's not like scripted, it's still going to be fake in some way, you know. And I would never want to get into that.
Well, I suppose. Well, I did ask for the topic, and I suppose I'm going to bully you guys into doing the topic because I did the video the other week, and someone said, "Oh, RPG pundit," did something very similar to this. I was like, oh, right, that's interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting talking about that. And this is, and I kind of touched on earlier where role playing games are hyper social. They're very, and of course, they attract people that tend to not be very social at the same time. You know what I mean? And this is where I feel like there's so many, and I get this all the time. I get people that comment on my channel saying, "Oh, I love to hear you guys talk about role playing games, but I've never been able to play myself." So that's why I set up that Looking for Group server. It's a fucking hellhole. I wouldn't recommend it. You're probably gonna find a bad game, but it's there. I provided you with something. You know what I mean? So you get what I'm trying to say. And again, you could really say that for being a forever DM, like someone that, it's like, imagine like, fingering your wife and she doesn't even suck your dick or nothing. You know what I mean? Or like you could say, what would it be like? Looking for groups online is like online dating almost. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between sex and role playing games to a certain extent, and it's also like finding a group that meshes well. Like it took me years to find a group that I was really comfortable with, and I feel like I've got that, and I really enjoy the guys that I play with, and I feel like I work with them. But a lot of people that I know would be like, "Oh God, get them away." You know what I mean? I can't stop playing with them, but I enjoy them. I think they're funny guys, and I really like playing with them. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Does that make any weird? I feel like there's a weird mesh between it all. You know what I mean? But I suppose you could put that down to any social interaction to a certain extent. You could say anything devolves into sex to a certain extent. I don't know. Or would that be the schizo ramblings of James? I don't know.
Any comments on that, Joe?
Hey, Joe, I've got you back. You're fucking worse than me, man.
No, I'm not going to comment on who always brings sex into the games that play games with me all the time.
I'm not talking about sex in particular. I'm talking about as in the sense of relationships, like personal girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever, is very similar to RPG groups. You know what I mean? The best one I ever heard was I was listening to it was an interview with Rammstein, and they asked, because Rammstein have been together for years, like ever. Right. You know what I mean? And they asked your man Tillman or Tiller Landon, whatever you call him. They asked him, how do you keep a group together for so long? Like, how do you keep a band? Bands are so notorious for breaking up and all that. And he said it's like a marriage without sex, and that actually, like, a D&D group is like a marriage without sex. Would that be fair to say?
Okay, I can understand that, because obviously a lot of gaming groups depend on having the people in those groups.
Yeah, it's like dynamic stuff, okay?
Yeah, it depends on the members of the groups being able to gel with each other in a specific way, right? It's not that was what, for example, my gaming group back in like high school and college was like, but it was, you have to have people that you get along really well with, and that all kind of understand each other and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's not really what my games are like nowadays, because I'm kind of a local celebrity here, so I end up having whenever I'm running a new game, I have like people trying out, to join the game and stuff like that, right? So I get to like pick people that I think are going to be just right personality-wise for the campaign that I'm going to run, and then those are the people for that campaign.
I've got you then. You're a mega slag on Tinder then, CR. That's what you are. You're like, swipe, swipe, swipe. You're not for me. You're not getting a group.
Yeah. Well, basically, and for but for the group, right? Because there might be like one player that would be like perfect for me to run, if I'm running a Star Wars campaign or something like that, and I'll go like, yeah, this guy would really fit there, right? But I would never have him playing in my, Lion and Dragon campaign set in the War of the Roses, because it would be, I know it just wouldn't work for him, So
what you're really saying is some girls will let you put it up the bum, but other girls won't.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah. So, but you see how well this analogy works, and it's really sticky when you really start getting into the nitty gritty of it. You said in them emails like, "Oh, that's not really a great topic." I'm telling you, it's fucking banging topic, because a lot of people don't even think about this type of shit. I'm obsessed with the psychology of human beings. I love the way. What is it like? I'm really bad with human beings. I'm not able to, like, I have a hard time communicating with a lot of people. You know what I mean? So for me, it's all about what is it that makes someone tick? What is it that what what's going on behind them eyes? Would that be fair to say? And that's such a heavy part of role playing games. I can't help but find it fascinating at the same time. Would that be something you could understand?
Definitely. As far as your sex analogy for gaming, you should check out the former host of this show. The guy was running the show before me at tabletopless.org. Grim Jim.
Does he actually get his cock? You know, I saw Grim Jim years ago. I'm not even joking. He's the only one of these that I saw RPG Pundit a couple years ago. I definitely remember seeing them. But I remember Grim Jim absolutely, like, this was like fucking 2015 or so. I remember seeing some like Gamergate video from him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty, because I remember this like weird English guy with a funny hat. I don't know. It just, I remember it from the time. I was like, what the fuck, is that him? You know what I mean? I went on his channel, I was like, fuck off, it actually was him.
Yeah.
You know
he literally like wrote the book on Gamergate.
Yeah.
Like James Lindsay quotes it on one of his websites. Courses.
Yeah, that was a big turning point online. I would say definitely that was.
Yeah, but nowadays Grim Jim has an OnlyFans channel where he DMs Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of people in the nude. You know?
Yeah, well, like, you know what I mean.
It's more than that.
I'm all about making money, but like, you know, I'm not for getting my cock out. You know what I mean? I'll get my balls out, new sweat, but I'm not going to get my cock out for boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, apparently he's very successful at it. I'm not sure what exactly is the appeal of that, but there you are.
Again, like I would argue, like I'm hyper libertarian. You know what I mean? Morally, I think porn is not a great thing, but when it comes to like making, like, you know, I'm not going to deny anyone making money. You know what I mean? That's what I think anyway. You know what I mean?
You know, I'm not anti-porn, but I just do not understand the idea of. It's like, you know, that episode of Seinfeld where like George Costanza tries to mix having sex with eating. You know, it's like
I'm sorry to say, I'm too young for that.
Oh, well, fair enough. But the point is that it's like, these are two things that, you know, even if you like both of those things, crossing them doesn't make them better, you know, like it doesn't make porn better. It just makes D&D worse, you know?
Yeah. Well, again, I was talking to one of my friends. We were on a stag do the other week. One of my mates, like, all my friends do not give a fuck about role-playing games at all. They all think it's gay as fuck, to put it nicely. You know what I mean? Like, they all say, it's like, no, James, that's fucking cringe, man. I will never go to a game store with you. Right, okay, no sweat. But there's one friend that I do have, and he was actually really impressed, and he said, I was over in Australia, and there was a few people playing D&D, and I was watching it, and it's like, actually, it looked really cool. I really enjoyed it, and he was asking me all about it, and he was asking me, it's like, why is it that so many people like try and get like really weird, like sexually? Why is that a thing? And I think it's to do with like power fantasies and stuff. Again, these are like, you know, so many people, like the people who are attracted to role playing games tend to not be the most social, not be the nicest looking of human beings. Would that be fair to say? You know, let's be serious. I've played with a few stinkers, not you know, yeah, myself included. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of people that like to get into like weird power fantasies, and it's almost like, it's like, oh man, guys, it's not gay, trust me. You know what I mean? It gets really weird. And he was asking me all about it, and you really find it really fascinating. But I can't remember where I started. I'm Stephen. Sorry, guys.
Well, you know, I can certainly. You can see that a lot of gamers are not social people as a rule. Yeah. Because when I've repeatedly argued that in the real world, the most important statistic that you could have is charisma, you know. And, and they're always like, oh no, blah, blah, blah. Charisma's a dump stat, right? Or something like that. No. You know, like I love
charisma characters. I always go for every time. I love anything with charisma stats. I never take it as dump stats. But again, I'm way more into my role playing. Even though I'm not very good at role playing is what I enjoy the most. You know what I mean? So I always take a character with high charisma, or at least it's definitely not a dumb stuff to say the least. You know.
Okay, so
Or that's
Malachi's Mercurial Musing says, I just remembered my favorite Neckbeardia video. It was the one where a guy made a character based on Frank Drebin. Fucking hilarious.
He's Frank Drebin again. Like, I can't remember. My head's like a fucking sieve. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know who
Sorry,
Soleil
guys.
Moonfry is. I don't.
I can tell you. I'm not sure.
Oh, you know, the guy from the Naked Gun movies, the character, Leslie Nielsen's character.
What?
Yeah.
Gun?
That might be before
Naked
James'
Gun.
time too. You know?
Yeah, it would be. Like, you know, like, guys, you need to remember, like, you know, like, I'm 28, right? But I'm from Northern Ireland, and you get, like, you know, you Americans need to remember, like, you know, Northern Ireland is like hyper poverty stricken. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I may have been alive in the 90s, but like it was really like the 70s. You know, does that make any weird sense? It's like you go to like North Korea and you're like walking back in time. Would that be a fair assumption? You know, like you go to North Korea and it's like stepping back to like the 50s. So it's like you know, you remember, like I didn't see a DVD until
Northern Ireland, the North Korea of Europe.
Yeah, not far off, to be honest. You know what I mean? It really is, but I suppose that's a poverty thing than anything. You know what I mean? But you Americans, you guys don't know what you're missing.
Well, it is funny playing with younger gamers. That, you know, there are some references that if you're a Gen X gamer like myself or Job, that the younger gamers could totally miss, right? Like I in my last Sun campaign, for quite the last while, I had an NPC that was there with the party that I decided on a whim was going to be based on Latka Gravis, the character that Andy Kaufman played on the comedy Taxi. And literally nobody realized that who that was. You know, they all thought it was hilarious, but they had no concept of the reference to it, you know.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Malin. I'm sorry.
I mean, most gamers today wouldn't know who Andy Kaufman was, you know. Like,
well, I've heard of Andy Kaufman, but I don't know the movie Taxi. Well, I know Taxi Driver, you know what I mean, but it wouldn't be that one. I'm pretty sure. Is the one where fucking Robert De Niro fucking goes
Taxi
on a rampage?
yeah, no, that's totally different. Taxi was a comedy in the early 80s. That started the career of a whole bunch of very famous comedians like Danny DeVito and Judd Hirsch and Andy Kaufman and Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yeah,
they all got their start. Tony Danza too. They all got their start there.
Tony. Okay,
Sorry,
so
guys.
there's a couple questions on here that led to a question I forgot to ask you earlier. PM James said, Jenny D is the best D&D YouTuber. She has taught me so much about running a D&D.
I've heard of her, so have.
What?
I've heard of her. So
okay, and then George Whittles, blah 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 blah, Hoopy said Seth Skorkowski is honestly the best RPG advice YouTuber around these days.
I wouldn't say he's RPG, but he is good. He's a good. Yeah, he's good.
So you turn me on him, but do you have anybody who's another good RPG YouTuber?
For me, so for me, I think Dungeoncraft is very comfy. He's boomer as fuck, but I really enjoy his stuff. I feel like it's very comfortable. I like him. Dungeoncraft would be my personal favorite. And again, I don't really like talking about this because, like, you know, I've had a lot of bad experiences. Like, again, like, see when you said, oh yeah, it meets with some YouTubers, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. Like, you know, you've got no, like, see the amount of people I've kept in contact. Divas, absolute fucking divas, to say the least. I would never name names, but, like, you know, I've came across a lot of people where it's like, I don't know, maybe they just take me long. You know what I mean? But I'm not.
Yeah, you just need another 50,000 subscribers, and you're going to be a diva too.
Well, no, here. What are you on about? I got a silver play button. You can't. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? My old channel over 100,000. What are you talking about? You know, so it's one of those. But you get what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of people that I'm famous. Do you know that? Like, you know, they gotta go to their head because it's a role playing games. There's a lot of people I feel like that you know, in this hobby that are very outcasts. They're nobodies. They have very, very little control over their day-to-day lives. They are fucking dweebs, to put it nicely. You know what I mean? And they make a couple of YouTube videos and they get really, really big, and then they're like, oh my god, like, you know, it goes all to the head. You know what I mean? I would never name names, but I'm sure you guys could think of some people like that. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
No, Garp is Garp. You need to suck my dick. By the way, you want to be a star, kid? I'll make you a star. You know what I mean? But you know, you get what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of divas in this profession, and I feel like, especially, I hate the whole Kickstarter scene. See, Kickstarter, it feels like, oh, you need to be an in crowd to get anywhere. You know what I mean? You need to be like this. You know what I mean? And it's very.
Yeah,
I don't have a good word for it, but I really despise it. I hate the idea. You know what it really gets me? It's like, you got to suck a bit of dick. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm not going to suck anyone's dick for anything. I want to do what I enjoy.
Yeah,
the
phoniness of it. The phoniness
yeah,
of it is
it's actually absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You guys need to see what it's like behind some of the scenes. It's absolutely vile. I'm like, you know, and again, that's kind of one of the things that I've had this a few times, because sometimes I would play with randomers, and sometimes these people, like, you know who I am, and then they treat me differently whenever I'm playing the game, if you know what I mean. And I'm not really interested in that. You know what I mean? It's like they try and it's like they're trying to like suck your dick or some shit. And it's like, no, man, I just want to play a game. Please just treat me like you would anyone else. You know what I mean? And
I've had sort of a similar experience. You know, living as I do in a small country in South America, but that has a relatively large gaming community, right? That also does a lot of like stuff together. There's conventions and clubs, or at least there was before COVID. There probably will be again now. And you know, when I got here many years ago, I wasn't, you know, I hadn't started anything yet. I hadn't started my blog even, right? So you know, all the gamers that knew me from there, I was just, you know, the Canadian guy that gamed, right? And I was just another gamer, right? But then, you know, once I started producing RPGs and worked on 5th edition and all that sort of stuff, right? I started being invited to go to these like gaming conventions and things like that, gaming clubs and all that. And suddenly, like, you know, it was like a new generation of gamers had shown up in between, right? Like all the guys that had been there when, you know, when I was in my late 20s and early 30s, who were kind of my age, they all still know me and treat me more or less normally. But then you had like all these younger gamers that were like, oh my God, it's the RPG Pundit, right? Like literally the only Latin American, you know, RPG designer that's known outside of Latin America, right? So like they were, and like I was suddenly like surrounded by these kids that were like all wanted to know me, right? Like I was some kind of a rock star or something. It was a really weird experience, you know.
Yeah, and I don't like it. It's,
you know, that was it was quite strange, but you know, when they actually gamed with me, it was okay, right? But when they were like fanboying around me or fangirling around me, that was quite unusual.
I feel very uncomfortable in those situations. You know what I mean? For me, it's not something that I like. I would like to avoid that as much as possible. You know what I mean? Within reason. I don't. I feel like I'm the only person that's actually like done YouTube videos that doesn't want to be famous. If that makes any weird sense, because I really did. I was doing it just for like enjoyment factor. You know what I mean? Because I wanted something. I wanted to be doing something productive on my day off instead of just lying about fucking wanking, watching fucking shady YouTube videos. You know what I mean?
It just worked out better than you expected, basically.
Essentially, yeah. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, that is what's happening. Like, you know, and it's kind of, I don't know. And I get it quite a, like, I don't know. It's hard to find games online all the time. Like, you know, that's why I really enjoy the group that I'm in within the minute, because they treat me the same as anyone else in the group. You know what I mean? So, although they kind of be like, yo, James, give us a shout out. Tell them about this time we did this. You know what I mean? That type of shit. But that would be about it. You know what I mean? It's not too much.
DM James just gave us a $2 super chat here, and thank you for that. He said, "Did you guys mute Venger?" No, we didn't mute him. His wife did. And George Whittlebach, Lorraine McLaren, Hoopy said, "Bring Alex Macris on the show." Well, Alex Macris is a good friend of mine, and I've invited him on the show already, but he's been I guess, a little bit busy with other projects and stuff. So, I'm hoping to convince him at some point to come on here. He was, for a while there, he wasn't really doing a lot of RPG stuff, but he's now made a new. I mean, he doesn't do OSR stuff. Like, I mean, he did make OSR stuff. He did Adventure Conquer King, which was great. But now he's done a new RPG. It's like a superhero RPG that I don't think is. It's called Ascendant, but I don't think that's an OSR product. It's its own RPG. But yeah, if he wanted to come on, he would be able to come on whenever he wants to.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Zan. So I feel like Job's book was my little introduction to OSR, and I really, really enjoyed it. Job, I'm sorry, I got to suck your dick a wee bit. I did call you out and say you interfered with the crime, and you may be in the statute of limitations. So forgive me, please. But what would you guys like? So I really love Morkborg. I'm really enjoying it. Okay, no biases. But what else would you guys recommend? Like, I already know Job would recommend the Dungeon Crawl Classic. That's a fucking tome. And you need to remember how hard it is to convince people not play 5th edition, right? You guys are fucking bimmers, right? As far as you may say, oh, we're Gen X. You're fucking bimmers in my eyes, right? I'm sorry to say. Like, you are what you are, So it's so hard to convince anyone to play anything that's not 5e. What do you do? How do you go about that?
Dungeon Crawl Classics is actually pretty easy. I started the Dungeon Crawl Classics.
It's a fucking tome, man.
Yeah, well, I know, but there's only 24 pages of actual rules in the book. So,
well, then they should fucking advertise that, because
there's a lot of random tables, and there's a lot of spell descriptions and stuff. But a lot of DCC is just random tables. Like, so you don't really have to know a lot of it to run it. And for the players, they just have to know what their characters can do. And it's like, at middle and high levels, because I've been running a DCC game for 10 years now, right? And at middle and high levels, the characters become absolutely awesome, because it's like each class does what that class is supposed to do super, super well, right? Like, it's got what we call niche protection, right? So warriors become totally awesome at being at fighting. Wizards can do all kinds of crazy shit. Clerics are really good at the cleric stuff, and thieves are great at the thief stuff, right? And it's so similar. Like, the thing about OSR games is, the first thing you can tell them is you don't have to say this is like a different game than D&D. You just have to say this is an alternate version of D&D, because it's the same rules, basically.
Well, I feel like I put that out. Someone said put it in my comment section the other day, saying you shouldn't say you're playing an OSR game. What you should say is you're playing 5th edition with a weird supplement and alternative goals. That's what you're doing.
But I mean, like, the 6 stats are all the same, hit points are the same, armor class is the same, saving throws are basically the same, classes are the same. It's just different, right? But if the size of Dungeon Crawl Classics is intimidating, well,
it's not that it's intimidating for me. It's convincing other people, because I've already been bought over to the OSR. I'm already like, you know what? I'll give it a go. I really want to give it a good go. I'm really interested in it. I want to really immerse myself in it. But who do you have to play with? And if you just slap down a big fucking book on the table and it's like, here you go, boys, you can just see the blankness.
All right. Well, do you like sci-fi games?
Yeah. Would
you be open to that? Because I've got, a gold bestseller product called Star Adventurer, which is a space opera sci-fi game. And the entire book is 38 pages long, right? And like, it lets you make basically your own sci-fi setting, with the kind of a space opera sort of style. It's not a big, it's a tiny tome. So hopefully that might, not intimidate people.
Well, I think that's the thing. You can convince one person, but it's convincing a group of people. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. As I say, hyper social event. How do you convince multiple people? You know what I mean? I think it's very difficult to convince multiple people, and that's why I feel like Morkborg did a really good job. I was talking to Joe Berger, and like Joe loves Lamentations of the Fleeing Princess.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest fuck up, the Lamentations of the Big Flame Princess, is so it's very edgy. Would that be fair to say? It's very,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
over the top. Yeah, it's called Lamentation of the Flame Princess. Who the fuck is gonna play that one? Do you want to play the Flame Princess? Like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, it's just kind of
That's to me that's a marketing fuck up, to say the least. Like, that doesn't matter.
yeah,
Doesn't
sounds
matter
like
what
a brony game or
does.
something.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is a weird choice of name. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. See if I had seen Joe's book in the game store, I saw it. It's like, well, okay, this looks kind of cool. Yeah, it's got the hole in the front. It's a very pretty book. But what's the system? Lamentation of the Flame Princess. Nah, man, that's not. Nah, I'm cool. I'm all right. You know what I mean? What's this one over here? That's fucking cool, man. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? That's where I think the big fuck ups are. Marketing is key, and I think that's where.
I kind of agree with you on that because all of my games try to have simple titles, right? Lion and Dragon, right?
Yeah,
Medieval Authentic.
Well, I kind of like that with Mork because no one can actually say the title correctly, so it kind of creates like a talking point almost. It's like no,
that's just because it's made by weirdo Swedes,
Yeah. Well, like I'm sorry, like everyone knows Swedes are fat boys. They can't help themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all they're good for. But I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I think Lamentations of the Flame Princess, their biggest fuck up was marketing with their name. It was. Like I know guys that are really really into the heavy metal, and if you said to them Lamentations of the Flame Princess, they'd be like, "What's that? Like fucking Dragon Force or some gay shit like that?" You know what I mean? They wouldn't even open the book. They wouldn't even open it, and that's what I think is a key issue. You know what I mean? And again, it's too late to change the name. What the fuck do? You know what I mean?
Well, I love that your introduction to OSR is the Book of Antitheses.
Yeah,
that's a really weird book to start with. Really weird. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm busting for a piss. I'm steaming. I'm gonna smoke a fag, take a piss. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm sorry about that, guys.
All right, yeah, we're gonna wrap up pretty soon too. So if you want
we're wrapping up, man. I'm just getting started. What are you talking about? I've got so many more questions for Pundit. You guys got no idea what I'm going to do. I'll be back in 1 week. I'm sorry.
So,
sorry.
Redshift here has a question for me. He says, Pundit, did you have any say with the Star Adventure art selection? Redshift, as you may know, I do not publish my own books. I'm successful enough that I get other people to publish my books for me. And so usually with my publishers, anything to do with layout or art, they're the ones that choose it. I get to look at the product when it's like before it goes to proof. And so if there's something that I really don't like or something like that, I might say so, but that rarely happens because usually I'm going to just, that's the publisher's job. So I'm going to trust the publisher on that. So the short answer is no, I didn't have anything to do with picking the art for Star Adventure or any of my other books for that matter. George Whittlebach, Lorraine McLaren, Hoopy says DCC absolutely falls apart at high levels, especially if you have a halfling in the party. Shit can get ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, I'm running a game now where the characters, where most of the party are between level 8 and level 10, and it's running pretty damn well, I have to say. And including one of the details about DCC compared to your standard D&D game is that it's a lot harder to. There's no resurrection spell, right? So even high-level characters can have the risk of death, right before them. So it's you still always have that that level of concern and challenge where I've run really high-level rule cyclopedia D&D, for example. And there, it's unless it's a total party kill, everybody's coming back to life anyways, right? So it doesn't, that there isn't that same type of intensity to it. Also, I was going to say, I didn't say it in time, but I have no idea who Seth Skorkowski is, you know.
He's a RPG
not
YouTuber.
not my area, I guess.
Yeah, I think you would like his content. I think it's kind of just straight like DMs advice type of stuff. It's
Well,
like 100,000 something survive.
Yeah, that is pretty big. I'd have to say, but you know, how many views does he get? He's not bad. I mean, 23,000 views, 58,000 views. All right, so like he gets a decent amount of views compared to subscribers, but because you know, like that's one of the things you have to look at, right? I was really surprised, for example, when I looked at like the D&D YouTube channel, and they have like 200,000 subscribers, and a lot of their videos get less views than my videos with like less than 5,000 subscribers.
It's all astroturfed crap. Oh, we are.
Yeah, exactly. George Villebach, Lorraine McLaren Hooby says, use a summon animal ritual to summon 100 hit dice of giant bees. Yeah, well, that can happen if you have the summon animal spell and everything works out, you know. But in my experience of DCC is that things rarely work out the way one expects them to, you know. Like it's that's why I made the last sun setting, which is, you know, based on DCC. Kind of the recurring theme of that entire world and that campaign is failure. You know? It's really worked out for the last decade. You know?
James is back. The man with the ladder the size of a pea.
But yeah, Panda, what you were saying was like, the thing is, so I would say what I would do is more like entertainment, whereas what you would do is more like, it's very polarizing. You know what I mean? Would that be fair to say?
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm called the RPG pundit, right? So like I've made a career out of being polarizing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's polarizing. I don't know. I would say I am polarizing. I try not to be, but at the same time, I can't help myself. Again, I feel like this.
Well, the problem is that in our society today, unless like if you're trying to be neutral, right? We've had Aaron the Pedantic on the chat here, who also has a YouTube channel, and I don't know if he's still around or not. He might have left, but you know, he's a guy that has made a great effort on his channel to try to be like a neutral guy, right? Like intentionally trying to not take one side or the other in the culture war.
Yeah.
But you know, everybody on the wokest side says he's a Nazi, right? Like, that's the thing. If you are not actively being a woke activist, you're on the other side by default because you are forced to be one way or the other, right? So then my advice is don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to make your videos political, but you also should not waste a second of sleep in you know, just doing whatever you want, because unless you're willing to become one of these guys who, like, every other video is about like inclusion or some bullshit, you're going to be counted as part of the other side, and that's it.
So I'll tell you guys a funny one. So for instance, like, you know, like the way I look at this, I consider this whole wokeism thing a very American product in my mind. I consider this like this is an American issue and I feel like I'm an outsider looking in, because Northern Ireland has never, we don't have any of these issues. They're not like something that affects my day-to-day life because we're like sane human beings. You know what I mean? I feel like you know what it is, right? Unironically, I feel like I'm probably going to get into bother talking about this, but I feel like the biggest problem with America is you haven't had war on your doorstep in so long that it's let the people go almost soft in a weird way. It's they haven't like I've been like, you see the whole lead up in like 2020. I was trying to say like you guys need to take yourself back to the brink. You know what I mean? 2020 was like an insane summer, you know what I mean, to say the least. I'm not going to talk about what happened in 2020 summer, but you guys, everyone knows what happened in 2020 summer. You know what I mean? It was really insane. It got really bad. And I was like, you guys need to understand that this is not a good thing to be getting into. You guys need to really like step back and like really evaluate. I feel like you guys are more capable of doing so, like, you know, than what we are able to do. You know, it's not a good way to be, and it's not something you want.
Well,
you know,
wokeism only thrives in a society that has been extremely privileged and extremely stable for a long time, right? Like if you're in a society that has had economic deprivation or civil conflict, in some way, that's why Poland is the most based country in Europe, right? Because they had 50 years of communism. You know, like they're not going to be woke, right?
Everyone I've met from Poland, I'm a good friend Charlie. He's from Poland. I think he wouldn't say anything. He would be very like, oh no, I wouldn't talk about that. But see, once you get a few drinks in him, he goes fucking he goes insane about the Russians. Like, I mean, next level.
For sure.
Okay, oh fuck, I already said his name, guys. Sorry, I can't. Well, I'll tell the stories. Okay,
and so
he's not going to watch it anyway. So what he would say is like, oh, the Russians, they are brain dead, they are emotionless, they are less than human beings. They have no idea, they have no consciousness. They are Asiatic hordes. They cannot think of their own. They need their government to tell them exactly what to do at any given time. You know what I mean? And I think that's true. And like, you know,
there's a Polish saying, civilization ends at the Vistula, you know.
Oh yeah, which I most definitely like. Any Polish fellow I've met is pretty funny. Like, you know, I've worked with a lot of Polish boys in the past, and they're good guys. I really enjoy.
But I mean, Northern Ireland has a similar situation in that it has for a long time been economically deprived, and in living memory had a massive civil conflict, right? So that is going to be an inoculation against wokeism.
And again, this is the biggest problem that I've come across with it all. It's because, see, whenever Americans try and talk to me about Northern Ireland, it's fucking cringe. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no understanding about it. They just, it's really annoying. It actually does my dick in whenever anyone else tries to talk about it. And so this is why I feel like anytime I try to interject about American politics, I kind of look at myself. I'm like, am I the exact same? And I'm an outsider looking in. So I don't really, I don't know I understand the people to a certain extent. And I talk to a lot of Americans, and I feel like I can get their mindset, but I don't have their lived experience. Would that be fair to say? So I don't. So I can't. So as much as I want to talk about this stuff, I feel like I can't give it justice. I feel like I can't. I can't appraise it in a fair way that Americans would understand. I don't know. Or maybe I'm talking about the whole. You know what I mean? I'm just talking absolute dog shit, and everyone would be like, James, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. And I would be like, well, that's fair. You know?
Yeah, fair enough.
The other here. The other big thing is, so I live in Northern Ireland. I am Catholic, and I live in the most unionist area of Northern Ireland by far. So I'm like hyper minority as minority as you can be. So it's like, see, whenever I come across like boys online that are like, oh, NECKBEARDIA, he's a white supremacist, he's an incel, he's a Nazi, shut the fuck up. You don't even know what, you've no fucking idea. You've no idea. You know nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you absolutely know fucking nothing. So don't even start me on any of that type of shit. It actually, it does my dick in. You know what I mean? It's one of those ones where it's like, you look at people and it's like, you're fucking so ignorant, it's not even funny. And this is what I got with SGWs. They're so fucking blind. Oh, I don't know how you can even spend time talking about them. They're absolutely
there's nobody more privileged in the world, right?
They're vile.
Yeah.
They're the worst human beings you could even. I'm not even going to interject with them because they're not cool. Like, it's just it boils my piss. Would that be a fair saying?
Yeah. There's literally no one more privileged in the world than these people that think that talking about word control is a vital subject for humanity. Like it's ridiculous.
They have no idea of actual. I truly do believe to create beautiful art, you need to have human suffering. And this is where I really fall into World War One is one of those moments that I just it's the worst of the worst you're ever going to get. World War One is my big one that I really obsess over when it comes to history. And again, Tolkien was in World War One, and he only spent 8 weeks there, and all his friends died. Could you imagine, like, let's picture this for a day. Could you do 10 minutes on the Western Front? Could you do an hour? Could you do a day? Could you do a week? You know what I mean? And this is one I think I would be proud of myself if I could handle the stress of one day. You know what I mean? And I think I'd be very proud of myself if I could experience it for one day. You know what I mean? And imagine doing that for years. Like, it's just. And look at all the beautiful artwork that we got out of World War One. It's just next level. You know what I mean? Lord of the Rings. I'll go. Jesus fuck, man. You know what I mean? C.S. Lewis. Oh,
I mean, World War One.
Through conflict and through human suffering creates beautiful art. That's my view on it.
Yeah, but World War One fucked up Western civilization in ways that we're still feeling today. Like it.
It's a dominant.
It destroyed the confidence in our own civilization.
Yeah, but we were going to have that war no matter what. You look at the societies of the day; they were gearing up for war no matter. World War One, if it didn't happen with Franz Ferdinand, it was going to happen. That's why I view it. It was going to happen no matter what. And no matter what, my people would have been fucked into the meat grinder. So that's why I view it. Would that be fair?
Yeah,
it's one of those ones. I don't know. It's an interesting one to talk, right? It's it's one of those ones that completely shapes. I think it shapes my worldview an awful lot because, again, as you say, we are living the repercussions of World War One. Most definitely. Like, just look at the Middle East, for fuck's sake. That alone, the fall of the Tsar, everything, it all look, as the Billy Joel song said, we didn't start the fire.
It's a before and after moment in the West for sure.
But again,
World War II was largely just a continuation. It was a sequel to it.
It's a continuation, and
it's a direct product of all the consequences of it. Sure,
but you go back in time, you could say you look at the Persians or the Babylonians or anyone, and if you say you took a Greek ambassador or a Roman ambassador from their day and age, and you got them to observe World War One. Or they would look at that and they could tell you, World War II, they could tell you, well, you grounded that one enemy into dust, but the two still standing, they're going to be at war with each other. They're going to be at each other's necks within minutes, and the Romans could have told you that even back then. Would that be fair to say they understood the man's inhumanity to man and the mindset of human beings? And again, that leads back into my big thing that I'm really interested in. I'm interested in the psychology of the human being, and that's kind of why I really enjoyed Job's book, if I'll be honest with you, because Job's book was like signing treaties the entire way through. It was like, do you agree? Do you want to read more? Yes, read more. Get more into my book. Yes. You want to keep going? Yeah. And it was kind of like that. Now that's one of the things that I thought was really beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. And Job, I'm sorry to suck your dick, but I got it. It was really good.
Thank you.
Bit awkward. You're blushing there, man. I'm not actually going to suck your dick. I'm just.
What?
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'll say I'm going to suck your dick, but I'm not actually going to suck your dick. I'm not. I wouldn't actually do that. You gotta ask nicely.
Why do you keep winking? What the hell?
Yeah, come on. Anyway. But yeah, what would so RPG Pundit, I know you're really big into the War of the Loses. I've watched quite a few of your videos and you're really big into it. I don't know. It's not my thing. Like, the War of the Loses is interesting, I really do enjoy it, but it's not like, I don't know, it's more English shite, in my opinion.
Well, I can understand as an Irish Catholic, you might not find it all that interesting, sure, but
No, but I love
you know,
I love Cromwell. I love 1066. I love all the rest of them. But see, the War of the Roses just fucking bores
well, the
me,
War of the
man.
Roses.
It
The
bores
thing
shit.
that
It bores the
started me
shit out of
getting interested in that was that it's great wargaming material, right? Like when I was a kid, one of the war games that I bought was Kingmaker, which was
Can I ask what age you are?
what I'm in the upper half of my 40s.
Oh, okay, that says it all. Because I've been saying this for years. Once you hit 45, you get a weird obsession with Napoleonic era war games, and
No,
that's
I've never
there
been
you
that
go.
much of a fan of Napoleonic stuff. No, but I bought Kingmaker when I was like 12, right? Like and so it was just a really good game. But later on, I'm a historian, right? Like that's what I studied at the at university. And my specialty was, what's called the early modern period, the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
And the War of the Roses is interesting for a number of reasons, and one of it is that when that war starts, like if you're, my book Dark Albion is a setting book for OSR play in the War of the Roses, in a fantasy version of the War of the Roses, but still the War of the Roses.
Yeah.
And at the start of the War of the Roses, England was a medieval country, and by the end of it, it was a Renaissance country, right? And so because it lasted 30 years, that war, 3 decades.
Yeah.
And so that was very interesting, and also it was this dynastic struggle, Game of Thrones is based on the War of the Roses, right? This whole, it was called the Cousins War originally,
of
and
course.
And Shakespeare.
You could say that World War One.
Shakespeare wrote more plays about the War of the Roses than any other subject for good reason. There's a lot of drama and incredibly larger than life characters in it. So it's
one of, what I've got the problem with. It's kind of like I've got this thing. It's the same as Chinese history. I feel like Chinese history. It's so convoluted. It's so intertwined. It feels like something that I feel like I should really enjoy, but I just don't. I've got no interest in Chinese history. Like it's just fucking dull. You know what I mean? And I can't explain it to you. I just find it really fucking boring. You know what I mean? And I don't have a good explanation for you because I feel like it's something that I should. It feels like it's got all the parts that I should really enjoy, but I just don't, and I can't get it.
The other thing that the War of the Roses has that makes it good, fodder both for drama or stories and for role-playing games is that the War of the Roses, it doesn't happen like it's not 30 years of constant warfare, right? It's like there's periods of tension and then suddenly some big war breaks out and then more tension. And there's like these incredible reversals, right? And shifting alliances and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to run like a campaign where your characters are knights or members of a lordly family, it's pure Game of Thrones shit right there. You can have all kinds of like scheming and plotting and battles and intrigues and all of that sort of thing, right? So it's just a good campaign. But I'm gonna make, I'm now finished writing, and I'm gonna publish this game on this setting on the Crusades and the Silk Road. And some point after that, I'll probably do one on the Anarchy, which was the earlier medieval civil war in England.
Well, I will ask. So I asked Job. I asked Job because I really want them to do it. I wanted them to do a burger punk setting. I must beg you if you could do
a what? Sorry,
burger punk. Have you ever heard of it?
Barter punk.
Burger. Like Americans burgers.
Burger punk. Yeah, I never heard of it. No, what is that?
You not heard of burger punk? Right. Okay. So what burger punk is? Take the worst stereotypes of Americans and turn it into a setting. Like the worst stereotypes and make it into a setting. It's kind of fun.
Oh, okay.
Like just take the worst of the worst. Like remove all the good stuff from America. Like I'm a bit of an American fanboy sometimes. Like and I can't help myself. I feel like America is founded on human beings that are very aspirational, a lot of people that moved to the new world, I feel like wanted to make a better life for themselves and their families, so therefore they are by definition more ambitious Would that be fair to say? So I feel like that's what made America what it is. It was a very ambitious. What percentage of human beings are hyper ambitious? And you've already got a big population of people that are already kind of ambitious. So I think that's kind of what made America what it is. You know what I mean?
The American dream, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So just remove all that, make it shit. Like put the worst of the worst of what you think of American stereotypes and make it into like a dystopian setting, and there you go. You know.
The thing is, I've lived in America, but I'm not an American, right? Like I'm not a U.S. citizen or anything like that.
Oh yeah, you're Canadian, aren't you?
That's right. And I think if there's anyone in our show right now that would be like way more qualified, it's the American guy that's literally living in Florida now, like the Florida man, the RPG, that would be Job's, that would be right up Job's alley,
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, again, Job, you're moving for political reasons. Like, to me, I will never leave Northern Ireland. To me, Northern Ireland is my home. I can't stand people down south. I can't stand the English. I fucking can't stand the Scottish. I hate the Welsh. I mean, the Americans are...
And the Irish, they ruined Ireland. That's the only thing you're waiting for.
Yeah, they really did. Like, I like a handful of people from where I live, and that's where I'm going to stay, all right, guys? And I'm not moving. You know what I mean? I'm not changing my life for you people. You know what I mean? Under any condition. Yeah. But again, Joe, you would be like, you moved the entire way across America for political reasons, and that to me is kind of aspirational to a certain extent, because I would never do that myself. I would never, go about that. But again, I don't live in a place that's absolutely fucking batshit insane. So I
mean, that's in itself is a very American thing to do, right? Like it's been happening since the Wild West, right? Where people who are living in some shithole in 5 Points, New York, would like pack up and risk almost certain death to cross all the way to, Oregon or California or whatever. Right now, you have California as a shithole, and Oregon and Washington, and so they're packing up and going to Florida.
Yeah, it's almost.
There's more than politics involved, but definitely politics.
Yeah, well, let's be like, I don't want to get into the ins and outs of it all, but it's fucking meant like all of America is kind of fuck. Like I would argue that America, like what annoys me the most about America is there's never been a time in human history where so many people have lived at such a high level of existence and just fucking ruined it, man. And that's just sad, in my opinion. It's so sad. It's to go from the masters of like unironically, like Cold War's over, the Russians are they're eating the fucking dirt, and to lose it all so quickly, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to think about it.
I don't know. I mean, America's probably over already. It was probably ended like 2 decades ago. We're just here living out the last of the elites gobbling up and ripping everything down before we descend into ultimate madness.
Well, again, that's what I love about the Roman. This is why I'm not really a big fan of the Roman Empire. Republic, it's where it's all out for me. It's got all the drama. It's got all the characters, and again, I'm sure you could agree with that. You could see that's why you love the losers. You know what I mean? It's got all the different flavors of human beings, and this is where the Republic really shines for me, because the Republic let so many people be amazing human beings. The Republic had the opportunity for more than one brilliant mind to flourish. Would that be fair to say? And that's where I feel like the Republic really...
Yeah, I think so,
You've got so many absolutely... Crassus, as much as I think he's a bit of a cunt, Crassus is a brilliant human being, and we would be gifted if we had him today. But when you look at him during the Roman Republic, he's a bit of a dickhead. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not being like, oh, I hope Crassus works out. You know what I mean? Whenever you're reading through it, oh, I hope Pompey gets what he wants. We don't have that today. We don't have brilliant minds. We don't have brilliant politicians. We don't have anyone that's inspirational in any way. You know what I mean? In my opinion, anyway, I don't think we have anyone that... we don't have any beautiful minds. Would that be a fair assumption?
Well, maybe Elon Musk.
I don't know. I'm a big crypto fiend, and Elon Musk is a lol cow in my opinion. To say the least, he had that big thing about Doge, like Dogecoin. He was like wanking all over it, and then the creator of Litecoin messaged him, and he was like, "What are you?" He doesn't even know that Dogecoin is a reskin of Litecoin. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing in my opinion. Like that's really like.
I gotta stop you. I thought you weren't gonna go crypto. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Okay, okay. Well, that's all I'm gonna say. All I'm gonna say is, when it comes to crypto, maybe like I might talk about it to you guys some other time. I'm gonna let you guys be millionaires. You can join me. I'm gonna become the elite. I'm not gonna become pedo, but I'm gonna become the elite. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, Elon Musk is a little cow when it comes to crypto. He's talking over his fucking hole. He has no idea what he's on about. It's actually sad.
Well, maybe, but he's the last best hope for saving free speech on the internet now. So,
oh fuck, that's bad. We've got. Oh my god, we're the end. This is the fucking end. Oh my god, we're in the end times, aren't we?
Well, we are. I mean, and like all the really, in terms of intellectuals, because I mean, Elon Musk isn't really an intellectual; he's an entrepreneur. But
yeah,
in terms of intellectuals, all of the really capable intellectuals now are stuck in the counterculture, right? The intellectual dark web, they call it, right? Like the people who are in control of academia and the bureaucracy are universally incompetent. Every single one of them.
Again, you know what this is? These people have never worked a fucking day in their lives. They were born, they went to school, they went to university. Oh, they worked in a bar. They did a few night shifts, right? And then they got a job at the university, and then that's them. They never worked. They never experienced what it's like to be an actual human being for 5 fucking minutes. And again, this is my big thing that I've got problem with YouTubers. I despise so many fucking YouTubers that are like, they bitch and moan about their situations. Like it does my dick in. You know what I mean? It's really annoying. It's like, oh, can you guys please donate to me? I need money, please. It's like you're in such a better situation that 99% of the people watching, you've no idea. You have no fucking idea. And again, this is the thing with fucking SJW types. They're clueless.
There was, the pre-Marxist class theoreticians called the parasite class, right?
Yeah. They've got such a little understanding of the world around them.
They don't produce anything. Yeah,
they've got and this is one of the things I really want to do. That's why, because before, so I was only doing the YouTube at the time, and then I was looking into it, and I was getting all these like offers from like companies, like NordVPN and Lead Chat Legend, and everyone knows, oh shit, let's be serious. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't really want to do these. You know what I mean? I don't want to look like a dickhead. You know what I mean? Because you're going to look like a dickhead if you do these things. So that's where the 3D printing came to be. You know what I mean? Because at least it gave me control of what's going out. You know what I mean? It gives me complete, I have to actually physically do this myself. And I think like what you guys do, it's more like music. I feel like what you guys produce is music. Because once you produce something, like say you're working on a supplement or a dungeon pick or whatever, it's like making music. It's like you produce it and then you put it up for sale and then that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would that be a fair way to view it? Like, it's once it's done, it's done. And if you really wanted to do
it's a creative endeavor that you put out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but once it's done, it's done. Whereas with me, the 3D printing, whenever someone makes an order, I have to then go ahead and fucking do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps the mind sharp. Would that be a weird way of putting it? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You're pretty jaded for a 28-year-old.
Oh man, I've got a child, man. It's bad hack. But I don't think I'm too cheated, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm just realistic about the places around me. You know what I mean? It's fucking good. Well, no. Why do you think I'm cheated? Actually, give me
I'm
that.
agreeing with you. I'm just saying.
I think he's the normal level of jaded for an Irishman. So
yeah, well, you know what it is? I'm disillusioned. I'm beyond the point of thinking. I'm far beyond the point of thinking. Oh, if only we voted the right people in. If we voted the right people. Oh, if only my team was voted in, we would have it all. We would be able to do this and that, and they wouldn't be trying. This is my viewpoint on it. Anyone that chooses in their life, I want to become a politician, and then becomes a politician, should never ever become a politician.
Yeah.
Anyone that seeks power should never be trusted with power. That would be my view on it.
Yeah, well, we haven't had there haven't been the right people available for at least 60 years, in anywhere in the West,
Yeah, well, I don't know. The last one I would go for is really Churchill. I'm a bit of a Churchill fag.
Yeah.
So
Churchill is.
Yeah, I would say he would be the last politician that I 100% would jump in with. You know what I mean? But bar that, I feel like politicians, it's fucking pointless, man. It's beyond repair at this point. You know what I mean? I don't feel like there's anything we can even do to even hope for it. And this is why I'm kind of disappointed Venger left, because I was like, oh, do I get to talk about abortions for once? But he's gone, so I'm not going to talk about abortions.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap up pretty soon. If anyone's got any last minute questions in the chat, get them in.
Yeah, make sure they're extra schizo. Like they have to be like top tier schizo. Because if they're not, if they're not like high schizo, I'm sorry, man, it's not being talked about. So, Job, any questions? You're quite quiet. Give me a good question.
Okay, here's some stuff. If you had to eat a co-host, which one would it be?
Well, Job, you look older than 45, so
Yes.
I'm gonna go for Pundit. I feel like there's good spice.
Yeah, but I'm like the mystery meat. You don't know what I am,
you're some form of Hispanic. I can get behind the spices, Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Let's talk about your show.
Oh, eat me? Why would you on about?
No, your co-host. We're not your co-hosts. Well, I guess we are tonight.
Tonight, yeah, but
I'm not going to make any comment about eating Megan. That's all I'm going to say. That's not good. I shouldn't be talking about that type of shit online.
All right, here we go from Snake Dude for Life. Who would win, the weakest female dwarf or the strongest elvish man?
Everyone knows the weakest female. I'll tell you this. This is funny, right? So me and Megan are both 5'5", right? But so we're both really short, but we're both the strongest of like all of our friends by far. It's like actually kind of comical, almost. Like a good few of my friends are like really into fitness. Like they're really like they're massive. Like they're big guys. You know what I mean? I suppose it'd be too late, Joe, to send you like any MMA. He does the MMA and all that stuff, and he's won a good few fights. But like we lack them in arm wrestles all the time, and I've been saying to the boys, it's like seeing when we have a child, I'm gonna have like Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? He's gonna be fucking gigantic. He's gonna have that mad dwarf energy about him. You know what I mean? And he actually is. He's he's big, like big child. He's not even one, and everyone thinks he's like a 3-year-old. I'm not even joking. He's fucking huge. Like he'd actually kick fuck at you. You know what I mean? Like he's a big boy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just living the dwarf life. Maybe. But I'm gonna say the weakest dwarf female could definitely be the strongest elf male by far. What would you guys say?
Well, elves are pussies, so yeah.
Oh, there we go. I don't know.
I'd probably agree.
Yeah, sometimes I would say that to all the boys that are watching. Like, see if you're on for like 5'7", just take the dwarf pill, glue the beard, sweat the fuck out of the gym, and just become like you just get tanked as fuck. You know what I mean? And just go hardcore. Just take the dwarf pill. You know what I mean? Go hardcore at it and just become an IRL dwarf, and there you go. That's all you need.
Come on, people. These aren't.
What's the best release and why is it? Well, okay, you're only saying that, Sneak, dude, because you're a fucking snake. You know, and I do buy into that new step on Sneak. Well, here, okay, you know what? I've never asked. What are your guys' political? What would you say overarching would be political ideologies? For me, I would firmly put myself in libertarian, like hardcore libertarian.
Well, I've often described myself as a cultural libertarian, right? So I'm a right-wing libertarian in terms of wanting minimalist government, but culturally, I'm a big defender of individual freedom and free speech and individual rights.
Would that not be libertarian as well?
Yeah, but I'm less worried about, libertarianism classically has been a lot about the free market economic theory, and I'm frankly, while I do believe in capitalism, right? I'm like on the opposite point from like this Randian libertarian concept of corporations can do no wrong or something like that, right? That sort of bullshit. I'm worried about individual liberty more than I am about letting corporations do whatever they like.
My only question is, do you not live in South America?
I do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I live in the most based country in South America right now, in Uruguay. It's the conservative president here was amazing. During the pandemic, everybody else was locking down like crazy all over, all over the world, right? And he was one of the few guys that said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're never going to have a lockdown because we want." If you have to establish martial law, you've already lost, And he stood fast against all kinds of criticism, and Uruguay is now one of the most economically prosperous countries in South America because of it. He was great.
I would argue definitely. See, with the whole COVID thing, I think it's a sign of a dying society. I think when it comes to the old are sacrificing the young. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I see a lot of so Megan's got millions of cousins, wee cousins, and there's a lot of them are 4 or 5, you know what I mean, and like that age group, and they spent the last couple of years and they don't even see people's faces. Or
they're going to be fucked for life. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to have enormous consequences.
To me, that's a sign of absolute decay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
totally.
Forfeiting your children for yourself is I consider it morally, and it's just bad. That's all I'm going to put on it.
Evil.
It's too evil. Yeah, definitely too evil.
Anyway, get back to your question. I'm more of I always consider myself kind of a classical liberal, but every year that goes by, the crazier shit. I don't know. I keep taking those political compass tests, and I'm always in the same quadrant, which is just left of center, and probably the number one thing that really just gets me off is any kind of authoritarianism.
Authoritarianism. I wouldn't.
That's why I follow Grim Jim, but God, his takes on stuff, I just want on the wall. I'm like, what? How? You're not consistent at all.
To be fair, Grim Jim, he did have a very good. I was really interested in that White book or the White Power book or whatever, and I was really looking at it, and then I watched his review, and I was like, you know what? That's actually the gayest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. You know what I mean? It really is. First of all, that book has got fucking. Why the fuck did your boy? I'm gonna call this boy out, James, because he was fucking bitching about Pundit being like, "Oh, why are you posting this podcast on our Facebook group?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got nothing to do with
you. Saw that, huh?
Yeah, so I can call him a fucking bitch for all I like. I don't, what I mean? He's not going to do fuck all to me. You know what I mean? He'll call you boys out, but he won't do it. You know what I mean? Well, he can't do that. But I don't give a fuck. Anyway. So, why would you even post that? Because it's kind of it's such a racially charged. It's like you're trying to be hyper political, and then at the end of the book you go, "Fuck Nazis."
Yeah. Well, you know,
get the fuck out. And
Raggy has this problem that he
corporate art style. The corporate art. See that whole like shadows and shit. That corporate fucking soulless fucking art style is fucking vile, to say the least. It's the most soulless shit I've ever came across.
What shit?
You know what I mean? The art style in that book, it's all
What
like,
book?
you know, like
I have a hard time following you.
Oh, white power, white power.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the fucking like the
Yeah,
homo
yeah. Well, that's
style.
that's Alex Mayo's book. Not,
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
I think you're talking about Grim Jim, and you're talking about James Raggi. Okay.
Oh yeah, but Grim did the view on the books we did. I was watching that one. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I would love to be a fly on the wall on this. I suppose I have such a hard time imagining what do I sound like to Americans. You know, I've always got this idea, like, well, do they get like 2-3 words of what the fuck makes sense? You know, I'm not even that bad. I'm actually pretty well spoken to most people from here. You know, I'm not even taking the piss. Like, you guys have no idea the culture talk.
Yeah, well, you're comprehensible to me, so that means you must be pretty well spoken for your area.
For most, I think I'm well spoken. You know,
yeah.
I feel like I've been watching Snatch for the last.
You know, I bought my dog from a load of gypsies, and Jesus fuck, they're the worst human being. You know, the thing is, right? I love this. It's like Europeans speaking to Americans about, oh, you know, you Americans, you're so bad to black people, and then it's like Europeans talking about gypsies, and it's like nine. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, Europeans talking about gypsies, it's like next, like, gypsies are the worst human beings who ever come across. And that's all I'm gonna say. Like, anyone that doesn't, you've never interacted with a gypsy before. That's all I'm gonna say. You've never actually. if you speak one good word about a gypsy, you've never actually spoken to one. I guarantee it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, I think that's a great place to end it.
On that note of ethnic prejudice, I think it's a great place for us to end our stream tonight.
Thanks so much for coming on, James. I really appreciate it. I got to
chat
with you.
Don't worry, I'll get you cancelled another time. Don't you worry.
Right. So our next show ought to be, if all goes well, on the 5th of June. So mark your calendars, and we hope to see you all then. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell in the hopes that you'll be notified when we're coming on. No guarantees with YouTube, but maybe.
And one last subscriber call out, ODST Ghost Killer just subscribed. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Something, James.
Goodbye. I've probably said too much already, man. Right. I'm just gonna. I've probably said enough for a lifetime. You know what I mean? It's like I already said, Joe. Like, okay, I'll say it again. Yeah, Joe, you committed a federal crime. RPG pundit, you're in hiding in South America for drug charges, and that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Good night.
All right.
Sorry, guys. I'm never going to be back on. I'm never going to be back on ever. All right. You got the audio off.